Chapter 2567. Seeing the middle-aged cultivator leave, ancient sage Qian Hong, who was on the mountain outside the East Imperial City, was dumbfounded. How can he leave? Ancient sage Qian Hong muttered to himself. He had spent a lot of effort in order to invite this person. After all, it had been very difficult for him to find this person. If it wasn't for the fact that this person was indebted to his ancestors, this person would definitely not have bothered with him. After all, this person had a great background. Ancient sage Qian Hong then left. Jiyu Zhong stood in the sky for a long time before flying down. He entered the East Royal City below and returned to the East Royal City Lord's residence. Master, Jiyu Zhong arrived outside the place where Jiyu Fei was cultivating in seclusion. You've worked hard. A voice rang out in Jiyu Zhong's mind. The battle just now had even alarmed Jiyu Fei, who was cultivating in seclusion. He had no choice but to speak up and set up a duel with that person in a month's time. To cultivators, a month's time was very short. It was also because of this that the middle-aged cultivator agreed. It's not hard at all, disciple, Jiyu Zhong replied. He had an urge to cry. He was so useless that he had to alarm his master. If it wasn't for his master, he would probably be dead today. All right, we'll talk after I come out of seclusion, Jiyu Fei said. After that, he didn't say anything else. In the secret room where he was cultivating in seclusion, countless runes interweaved and an ancient aura filled the air. The runes interweaved and recombined, and the initial form of an ancient formation was revealed. Jiyu Fei was still constantly deducing and didn't dare to relax. He only had a month's time. Yes, Jiyu Zhong replied. Jiyu Zhong replied. Then, he sat cross-legged on the ground and placed the lightning god spear on his knees. He closed his eyes and the aura on his body gradually disappeared. Very quickly, he became like a stone statue and did not move at all. On the other hand, the lightning god spear on his knees was flowing with electricity, emitting a powerful and terrifying aura of destruction. The battle had ended. No one had expected it to end like this. The incomparably powerful middle-aged cultivator had actually retreated. This made many people in the East Imperial City feel extremely disappointed. Jiyu Fei and his disciple were like a mountain pressing down on their hearts. How they wished that someone could move this mountain away. However, it was extremely difficult to move the mountain. The silent East Imperial City gradually calmed down after half a day of clamor. At this moment, Jiyu Fei spared no time in deducing the ancient formation. One must know that once he succeeded, his true body would descend and he would have nothing to fear. As long as he successfully reversed the ancient teleportation formation and lured the overseas forces into the Tinglong continent, no force in the entire Tinglong continent would be able to threaten Jiyu Fei. One had to know that the three holy venerables of the outer seas had all been subdued by Jiyu Fei. 1 month. Inside the secret chamber, within the endless symbols, 2 beams of dazzling divine light suddenly shone. That was Jiyu Fei's gaze, which seemed to be able to see through the void of heaven and earth. He was doing incomparably complicated things, continuously deducing the ancient formation, and then reorganizing the ancient formation. The great formation's embryonic form had already taken shape. This was an extremely important step. Rumble. Sounds of wind and thunder gradually resounded in the secret chamber. Just as Jiyu Fei was deducing the ancient formation with all his might, on the ancestral star of the crepe myrtle, in a desolate historical site, an ancient formation platform that had been sealed for countless years suddenly lit up. Squawk. On an old tree beside the ancient formation platform, a strange bird squawked and flew away. In this desolate historical site, very few living beings could be seen. This historical site was filled with collapsed palaces and pavilions. Moreover, between these palaces and pavilions, bones could be seen scattered on the ground. There were immortal runes and incomplete ancient formations here, which already possessed terrifying power. Though this was a historical site, no one dared to enter. This was the famous land of immortals on the ancestral star of the crepe myrtle. Legend has it that in the distant past, an extremely powerful living being was born here. That living being eventually ascended to the heavenly realm from this place. Therefore, this place was called the Land of Immortals. However, The land of immortals today was no longer the rare land of immortals. The land of immortals now was merely an ancient relic. There were no immortals here, not even ordinary living beings could be seen. No one knew what happened back then. An extremely powerful sect was reduced to ashes just like that, erased from the ancestral star of the crepe myrtle. At this time, waves of immortal energy came from the desolate ruins. An ancient formation platform that was still in good condition was glowing. The runes on the ancient formation platform continued to light up. The worldly essence of the surroundings gradually gathered from all directions and entered the ancient formation platform. Whoosh! At this moment, the space above the ancient spirit formation platform trembled like water. Then, a figure passed through the layer of water and appeared on the ancient spirit formation platform. This is, the immortal light emitting from the ancient formation platform dissipated. The runes on the ancient formation platform gradually disappeared into the interior of the platform. Then, the ancient formation platform that had not been used for God knows how long went silent. Could this be the ancestral star of the crepe myrtle? He Tian glanced at the surroundings, only to see that everything was in ruins. In addition, there were even some places that emitted supreme killing intent, as well as terrifying auras. What's going on? He Tian stood on the formation platform. He was not in a hurry to get down from the platform. One should know that other than the platform, he could not be sure if there were any other dangers. An ancient relic like this was not simple. It definitely hid peerless killing intent. If one was not careful, even a sage would die here. Humph. In the end, He Tian resorted to the old method and released runes. Runes rushed out from his body and disappeared into the void. The current Erebus could easily execute such a technique that could be used to form a formation out of nothing. In an instant, He Tian set up a killing formation around himself. This killing formation was hidden in the void and enveloped hundreds of square meters around He Tian. He Tian sensed that there was no danger around the ancient array platform. If there was any danger, it would have been triggered by the runes a long time ago. He was a grandmaster of arrays. Traveling in this dangerous place was much safer than ordinary cultivators. To know that only a grandmaster of arrays could form arrays from the void. Very quickly, he walked down the ancient array platform. After deciding on a direction, he walked forward. It was very easy to get out of this place. All he had to do was decide on a direction and keep walking. Eventually, he would be able to leave this place. This was a stupid method, but it was very effective. He Tian carefully walked out of this place. At this moment, someone wanted to enter this place in search of a great fortune. This place was the land of ascension. Legend has it that there is a great fortune here. It is the real land of ascension, a place that can nurture natural-born beings. Since the ancient times, countless people have come here to try their luck. However, most of them failed to find the legendary land of ascension. Moreover, among these people, a portion of them died on the way, unable to walk out of this place. At this moment, a figure appeared outside the land of ascension. This person was the traitor that his clan members called Ji Changkong. The real land of ascension was definitely a special place. However, this kind of heaven-defying place had disappeared long ago. However, someone once saw the legendary land of ascension in this place. Ji Changkong came here to try his luck. If he really found the land of ascension, then he would no longer need to be afraid of anyone from the Ji clan. Just as Ji Changkong was pacing back and forth outside the land of ascension, the experts of the Ji clan had already arrived. Ji Changkong, let's see where you can run to this time. An aged voice came from the sky. Then, a figure descended from the sky and landed in front of Ji Changkong. It was an old man with white hair and a beard. The old man held a dragon head staff. Although he looked very old, the immortal Tao energy rippled from his body. There was no sign of aging. Ji Yunlong, I didn't expect you to be able to track me here. On top of a mountain, Ji Changkong stared coldly at the old man standing in the sky. At this moment, another two figures descended from the sky and landed behind the old man. These two immortal Tao experts looked middle-aged. In the world of cultivation, appearance did not mean anything. No one would judge a cultivator's age from their appearance. One should know that in the world of cultivation, there were often people who looked like children or young people, but their real age was extremely frightening. They were truly old antiques. Ji Changkong, die. The moment they saw Ji Changkong, the two middle-aged men immediately charged at him. Powerful energy ripples exploded from their bodies. Swoosh. One of the middle-aged men waved his hand and a purple sword light immediately rushed out from his hand. It flew towards Ji Changkong. Rumble, lightning flashed. The other middle-aged man held a lightning seal in his hand and unleashed an endless amount of lightning power towards Ji Changkong. The aura of destruction filled the air. The power of lightning represented destruction. Ji Changkong stretched out his right hand and grabbed forward. A pitch-black whirlpool appeared in his palm. A heaven-devouring power surged out from the whirlpool. The sword light and the lightning power that filled the sky were all devoured by the whirlpool that appeared in his right hand. What? The two middle-aged men could not help but be shocked when they saw this. How did Ji Changkong's cultivation reach such a level? At this moment, the heaven-devouring power that surged out from Ji Changkong's palm spread out and enveloped the two middle-aged men. Chapter 2568. Heaven-Devouring Hand. The old man with the dragon head staff was shocked when he saw Ji Changkong extend his hand and suck the two middle-aged men over. Bang! The old man struck out with the dragon head staff. An extremely powerful shockwave immediately exploded from the dragon head staff. The air trembled and immediately dissolved the heaven-devouring force from Ji Changkong's hand. The two middle-aged men immediately fell from the sky. They hurriedly used their Xian Qi and their bodies emitted a divine light. They soared into the sky and did not truly fall to the ground. It really is the heaven-devouring hand. The two middle-aged men were extremely shocked. It must be known that the heaven-devouring hand was a secret technique of the Ji clan. Its power was shocking. Legend has it that when cultivated to the extreme, the entire world could be contained within the palm of one's hand. Only the heaven-devouring hand has such power. The old man with the dragon head staff squinted his eyes. Light flickered in his eyes and a powerful aura spread from his body. Rumble. The air around the old man trembled. Rays of celestial light of the great Tao revolved around him, giving people an extremely powerful pressure. The old man's name was Ji Yunlong. He was an expert of the older generation of the Ji clan. In terms of seniority, Ji Yunlong's seniority was above Ji Changkong's. Of course, Ji Yunlong had already chosen a side. He stood with Ji Changkong's group. Thus, Ji Yunlong naturally did not wish for Ji Changkong to return to the Ji clan. However, although Ji Changkong was framed and lost in the chaotic world for tens of thousands of years, he only managed to survive until the chaotic world reappeared after experiencing countless hardships and dangers. To be able to endure until the chaotic world reappeared, his mental fortitude was rare in this world. Ji Yunlong, don't waste your energy. You can't do anything to me. Ji Changkong looked at Ji Yunlong calmly and said, "Chimph, is that so?" Ji Yunlong waved his hand and ordered the two middle-aged men to step back. He himself walked forward and raised the dragon head staff in his hand. Rumble, the sound of thunder rang out and 9 purple lightning bolts rushed out from the dragon head staff. They transformed into 9 huge dragons and pounced towards Ji Changkong. The clan's 9 thunder dragon rod. When Ji Changkong saw this, he finally remembered the dragon head staff in the old man's hand. It was a great treasure of the Ji clan. It was a Tao artifact refined from the bones of an ancient lightning dragon. A Tao artifact could be said to be the carrier of the great Tao. It contained nearly complete Tao patterns. Such a Tao artifact could only be refined by a holy venerate at the very least. On the other hand, the ancient thunder dragon was a carnate lifeform that was born from lightning. It was pitilessly powerful, and even though it couldn't compare to supreme existences like the Grand Emperor, it wasn't much weaker. The thunder dragon's bone itself was a rare divine treasure that contained the power of the great Tao of thunder and lightning. The might of the 9 lightning dragon scepter refined from the thunder dragon's bone was naturally not weak. Heaven-devouring palm. Ji Changkong directly used the Ji clan's great technique. He extended his right hand and a black whirlpool immediately appeared in his palm. Boom! The space in front of his palm began to tremble, and pitch-black spatial cracks began to appear. It was as if the entire world was about to collapse. The 9 purple lightning dragons directly rushed towards Ji Changkong's hand. They were forcefully pulled over by an incomparably powerful force, and were about to be swallowed by the black hole in Ji Changkong's hand. What? Seeing this, Ji Yunlong couldn't help but be shocked. How did Ji Changkong become so powerful? Kill. The old man Ji Yunlong used all his strength to activate the 9 Thunder Dragon Scepter. A terrifying destructive force exploded from the 9 Thunder Dragon Scepter. The 9 dragons roared at the sky at the same time. Rumble, endless power of thunder and lightning erupted from the 9 dragons. Streaks of purple lightning filled the void, turning the entire world into a sea of thunder. This was the 9 heavens violet lightning, the most powerful type of lightning in the world. Every single bolt of lightning could shatter a mountain ridge, displaying its terrifying might. The powerful lightning energy forcibly pushed Ji Changkong's heaven-devouring palm away. The vast and mighty heaven-devouring palm forced Ji Changkong to retreat. Whoosh! Ji Changkong's figure was like a phantom in the sky. He quickly retreated, leaving behind a series of after-images in the sky. In just an instant, he had retreated thousands of miles away, avoiding the range of the 9 heaven purple lightning, and landed on a mountain peak. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the sky. The 9 dragon shadows carried endless purple lightning and chased after Ji Changkong. A mountain peak was swept by the purple lightning and exploded, turning into dust. In front of the 9 Thunder Dragon Scepter, even the heaven-devouring palm is not enough. The old man Ji Yunlong's voice resounded. His tone was filled with killing intent. He came out of the Ji clan's ancestral land with only one goal, and that was to kill Ji Changkong. The Ji clan leader did not like to see Ji Changkong. One must know that the current clan leader of the Ji clan was at a disadvantage when he fought with Ji Changkong for the position of clan leader. The older generation of the Ji clan did not think highly of him. However, the current clan leader of the Ji clan tricked Ji Changkong, causing him to fall into the chaotic world. After that, he became the clan leader of the Ji clan. The clan leader of the Ji clan was snatched from Ji Changkong. Of course, Ji Changkong was really unlucky. He underestimated the ferocity of his opponent. The fight for the position of clan leader did not require a life-and-death battle. However, he did not expect that his opponent wanted him dead for the position of clan leader. Preposterous. Ji Changkong stood on the mountain peak, his long hair fluttering behind him. He stared at the 9 dragon shadows, his body emitting a vast and mighty purple chi. I will devour the 9 dragons for you to see. Ji Changkong roared and used the heaven-devouring palm with all his might. He used all his strength and his clothes were instantly shattered by the power that erupted from his body. Heaven-devouring palm with both hands. Ji Changkong's body surged with power. The power in his body directly gathered in his hands. Buzz. The air trembled. A pitch-black whirlpool appeared on Ji Changkong's hands. The whirlpools quickly grew bigger and bigger. The 2 whirlpools actually covered half of the sky. The sky was collapsing and the earth was shaking. Bolts of purple lightning entered the 2 pitch-black whirlpools and were refined by the heaven-devouring palm. The power of the Ji clan's heaven-devouring palm was definitely not simple. It could devour the heaven and earth and absorb the essence of the heaven and earth for its own use. Reckless. Ji Yunlong's aged voice came from the purple sea of lightning. No one was clearer than him about the power of the 9 lightning dragon staff. One must know that he was the user of the 9 lightning dragon staff. Rumble. The 9 dragons released endless purple lightning. A terrifying destructive aura filled every inch of the sky. This was a power that caused people to despair. It could destroy everything. The purple sea of lightning followed the 9 dragons and rushed towards Ji Changkong. Bolts of lightning were directly devoured by the 2 black whirlpools. The extremely terrifying destructive power was actually attracted by the heaven-devouring palm. The powerful lightning was constantly refined. Ji Changkong's aura was constantly increasing. The power of the 9 lightning dragon staff was too strong. Very quickly, bolts of lightning appeared on his body. The feeling of the lightning on his body was not good. One must know that the lightning represented the power of destruction in the world. Wherever the lightning passed, all life would be severed. Ji Changkong's physical body was incomparably strong, but he still felt that it was somewhat unbearable. Burst you! Ji Yunlong directly drove the 9 lightning dragons towards the 2 black whirlpools formed by Ji Changkong's heaven-devouring palm. Boom! One of the dragons rushed into the whirlpool. The entire black whirlpool immediately trembled and actually showed signs of collapsing. I'll devour. Ji Changkong used all his strength. The black whirlpool trembled and actually devoured the lightning dragon. At the same time, a dragon-shaped wound appeared on his body. This was the final power of the 9 lightning dragon staff released from Ji Changkong's body. It injured him. This was the power of the Great Tao. With Ji Changkong's current cultivation, it was difficult to completely refine it. What? Ji Yunlong found it hard to believe. This Ji Changkong could actually devour the power of the 9 lightning dragon staff. This caused him to be in disbelief. One must know that the 9 lightning dragon staff was an important treasure of the Ji clan. Rumble, at this moment, another dragon rushed into another whirlpool. At the same time, Ji Changkong's body trembled. Bolts of purple lightning wandered around his body, emitting crackling sounds. Pu! There was a flash of blood. The instant the huge dragon was swallowed by the whirlpool, another bloody wound appeared on Ji Changkong's body. A stream of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Good, let's see how you hold on. When Ji Yunlong saw this scene, he continued to use the power of the 9 lightning dragon staff to attack Ji Changkong. The third dragon emitting endless lightning rushed over. Ji Changkong clenched his teeth and endured. He used all his strength to execute the heaven-swallowing palm and absorbed the third dragon. Without any suspense, a third dragon-shaped wound appeared on Ji Changkong's body. Blood had already dyed his upper body red. Some parts of his bones were even exposed. I'll risk it. Ji Changkong knew that it was hard to get off the back of a tiger. If he retreated, he would only die. If he persisted, there was still a chance of survival. The 9 lightning dragon staff was truly worthy of being an important treasure of the clan. Although Ji Changkong had mastered the heaven-swallowing palm, his cultivation was not enough. He could not display the true power of this great technique. One dragon after another was devoured by him. His body was badly mutilated. Fresh blood dyed the soil under his feet. When the 8th dragon-shaped wound appeared on his body almost collapsed. I'll send you on your way. Chapter 2569. The might of the 9 lightning dragon staff was earth-shattering. The 9 lightning dragons displayed their terrifying might. However, Ji Changkong used his own strength to block the 8 lightning dragons. Roar! Ji Changkong roared angrily on top of the mountain. His entire body was drenched in blood. The soil under his feet was already dyed red with blood. Drops of blood with a faint purple glow continuously dripped from his body to the ground. The 8 dragon-shaped wounds on his body were a ghastly sight. The dragons on the wounds bared their fangs and brandished their claws, as if they could charge out of his body at any time. These were injuries of the Great Tao. Even if Ji Changkong cultivated the heaven-devouring hand, he could not dispel this power. He could only force it out of his body. Rumble! The heavens and earth shook. Purple lightning illuminated the heavens and earth. The 9th lightning dragon charged towards Ji Changkong. This was the strongest and also the last lightning dragon. The 9 lightning dragon staff displayed its strongest might. The terrifying power of lightning tore the heavens and earth apart. The sky seemed like it was going to collapse. Come! Ji Changkong raised his head to the sky and roared. His eyes were filled with incomparable sharpness. He stared at the lightning dragon rushing towards him. His battle intent surged. Even if he were to face such an existence, he would not retreat. In the primal chaos world, he had encountered even more dangerous things than this. Roar! Ji Changkong roared again and again. His hands gradually joined together. The 2 black whirlpools in the sky also merged, becoming one. The vast and mighty heaven-devouring power emitted from the black whirlpool multiplied. Boom! A large area of the void collapsed and was swallowed by the black whirlpool. The endless lightning that bombarded down from the sky was directly swallowed by the black whirlpool. It turned into pure worldly essence and was absorbed by Ji Changkong's immortal body. It is impossible for you to survive under the 9 lightning dragon staff. Obediently accept your death. Ji Yunlong's disdainful voice came from high up in the sky. In his opinion, Ji Changkong would die without a doubt. One must know that the power of the 9 lightning dragon staff was not something someone of Ji Changkong's level could contend against. Is that so? Ji Changkong sneered. Roar. The lightning dragon roared. The entire heaven and earth trembled. The lightning dragon that was as large as a mountain directly collided with the black whirlpool in the sky. Rumble. The two extremely powerful forces were fighting against each other. Surprisingly, the dragon formed by the purple lightning was not devoured by the black vortex. The black vortex was showing signs of collapsing. Bolts of lightning tore through the void, leaving behind pitch-black spatial cracks wherever they passed. Pu. Ji Changkong spat out a mouthful of blood. His body cracked again. A dragon-shaped wound appeared on his forehead. It looked like his head was going to explode. The great Tao energy from the 9 lightning dragon staff wanted to destroy Ji Changkong's soul. It hasn't even been devoured by my heaven-devouring hand, and the great path injury is already appearing? Ji Changkong was incomparably shocked. This 9th purple thunder dragon was very strong. It was much stronger than the previous 8 dragons. This was the embodiment of the strongest power. I want to survive. Ji Changkong roared furiously in his heart. His gaze was incomparably resolute. His entire body was releasing rays of immortal divine light. It was as if purple lightning was circling around him. Boom! The powerful lightning dragon stretched out its claws and tore through the void. The black vortex shook violently and almost collapsed. Preposterous! I'm going all out. Ji Changkong roared furiously. He directly soared into the sky and pounced into the black vortex. In the purple lightning sea, Ji Yunlong was incomparably shocked when he saw this scene. He never would have thought that Ji Changkong had cultivated the heaven-devouring hand to such a level. Transforming my body into the heaven-devouring hand, devouring the heaven and earth. Ji Yunlong muttered to himself. His voice trembled. Rumble. The black vortex grew bigger and stronger. The heaven-devouring power that flowed out from the vortex grew even stronger. The endless lightning power was constantly devoured and refined. Roar. The lightning dragon roared. It was as if it had a life of its own. It seemed to have sensed a threat. It actually crazily charged towards the black vortex that was trying to devour it. However, the black vortex continued to devour its power. Its power kept increasing while the lightning dragon's power kept decreasing. As time went by, the lightning dragon was actually sucked in by the black vortex. It could not struggle free and was gradually at a disadvantage. How is this possible? Ji Yunlong found it hard to believe. This was the power of the 9 lightning dragon staff. Roar. The lightning dragon roared. It wanted to tear the void and rush out of the black vortex. However, it was a little too late. The black vortex that had devoured the endless power started to suppress the lightning dragon. Ji Changkong's body transformed into the heaven-devouring hand, displaying the power of this great technique to the extreme. Die. Ji Yunlong continuously activated the power of the 9 lightning dragon staff. Endless lightning power burst out from the staff. 9 dragon-shaped lightning Dao patterns appeared on the staff. The lightning dragon displayed a terrifying destructive power. The black vortex shook violently as if it was about to collapse. However, the black vortex did not truly collapse. It stubbornly persisted. Finally, under Ji Yunlong's dumbfounded gaze, the 9th lightning dragon was actually devoured by the black vortex. Following that, the entire purple lightning sea was devoured. An extremely terrifying energy fluctuation appeared between the heavens and the earth. Rumble. A faint sound of thunder came from the depths of the sky. A terrifying fluctuation that seemed like it was about to destroy the entire heaven and earth came down from the sky. This was the power of heaven's wrath. It was above the heavenly Tao. It could even kill sages. It was the existence of the power of heaven's wrath that forced the ancient sages to choose to seal themselves. What? Even Ji Yunlong was shocked to the extreme when he sensed the terrifying aura of destruction descending from the sky. He seemed to have done something extremely stupid. Ji Changkong's power had already surpassed the limits of the mortal world. He had attracted the descent of the power of heaven's wrath. The black vortex disappeared and a figure appeared in the void. An incomparably powerful aura spread out from his body. The entire heaven and earth trembled. I originally wanted to continue suppressing it, but now, Ji Changkong knew that he could no longer suppress his cultivation. He had already touched the limits of the mortal world and attracted the power of heaven's wrath. Ji Yunlong's expression changed when he felt the energy fluctuation from Ji Changkong's body. Ji Changkong was about to become a sage. This was not a good thing. Actually, what Ji Yunlong did not know was that Ji Changkong had already suppressed his cultivation for a very long time. He wanted to find the flying immortal land and undergo his tribulation. The flying immortal land was a very special place. It was not within the 3 realms or the 5 elements. It was outside of the 6 Taos. Even the power of heaven's wrath could not sense its existence. It was precisely this kind of place that cultivators dreamed of undergoing their tribulation. Here, quasi-sages could undergo the sage tribulation and become sages above the heavenly Tao. This was one of the few legendary places that even the power of heaven's wrath could not reach. The flying immortal land was located within these ruins. However, it wasn't an easy task to find out about this place. It required great luck. What are those bastards doing outside? In the flying immortal ruins, He Tian was carefully exploring a place. However, the outside world was in chaos. Strangely, no matter how intense the battle outside was, the ruins were not affected at all. Even the power of the 9 lightning dragon scepter could not damage a single blade of grass in the ruins. Whoosh! At this moment, Ji Changkong's figure flashed and disappeared into the void. He actually charged into the flying immortal land just like that. Seeing this scene, Ji Yunlong was shocked. One should know that the flying immortal land was a famous dangerous place in the ancestral star. Even the powerful ancient sages were not willing to enter this place easily. The flying immortal land was very dangerous. How could it be easy to find the real flying immortal land? Since ancient times, countless geniuses had entered the flying immortal land in search of the real flying immortal land. However, no one had ever succeeded. However, the instant Ji Changkong charged into the flying immortal land, all sorts of strange phenomena appeared in the flying immortal land. Immortal palaces appeared in the flying immortal land. The flying immortal land seemed to have fairies singing from the 9 heavens. It was as if countless immortal palaces had appeared in the endless ruins. This sudden change shocked He Tian. However, he soon discovered that these were all illusions and not real things. Numerous blurry figures, numerous illusory immortal palaces. What were all of these foretelling? No one knew. This was the secret of the flying immortal land. Perhaps only existences at the supreme being level were qualified to know this secret. He Tian sensed some kind of fluctuation of the great Tao. This made him extremely shocked. At this moment, Ji Changkong was bathed in immortal light. A path of immortal light appeared under his feet. This path of immortal light extended into the depths of the flying immortal land. At this moment, an ancient jade talisman on Ji Changkong's neck released an immortal light. It was this jade talisman that resonated with some kind of power in the flying immortal land. This was a guiding force that had never appeared before. This was because it was a legend. According to the legends, people with great luck could be guided to the real flying immortal land. Whoosh! He Tian's figure disappeared in the void. In the next moment, he also stepped onto the path of immortal light. Ji Changkong never expected that someone could step onto this path of guidance. He was about to say something when the path of guidance sent the 2 of them into another world. This is the legendary flying immortal land. Ji Changkong was extremely shocked. This was definitely a rare immortal land. There were spiritual mountains floating in the sky and there was a heavenly spring of life flowing on the ground. It was filled with vitality. Chapter 2570. The true land of flying immortals could not be entered by those without great fortune. It was a special place, outside of the 3 realms and 6 Taos. Even the power of heaven's wrath could not touch this place. It was a holy land that all quasi-sages yearned for. However, this land of flying immortals had disappeared after a great change in the past. Some said that an ancient sect had severed the passage between the land of flying immortals and the outside world. Some said that the land of flying immortals flew away by itself. However, no one knew the truth. All these rumors could not be trusted. However, the ancient jade talisman that Ji Changkong had obtained by accident was a treasure that could allow one to enter the land of flying immortals. Even Ji Changkong himself did not expect this. The land of flying immortals was very quiet. The immortal birds and spirit beasts were very peaceful. They did not run away in panic because of Ji Changkong and He Tian's arrival. Primal chaos qi, yin-yang qi, 5 elements qi, how is this possible? At this moment, He Tian was stunned. He saw a mountain spewing 5 elements divine light floating in the void in the distance. He also saw a ball of primal chaos divine light faintly appearing in another direction. In the void, yin and yang qi interweaved as if they were evolving the world. What is this place? He Tian was very excited. This was definitely a holy land for cultivation. All sorts of spiritual energy gathered here. There seemed to be all sorts of perfect Taos here. Could it be that this place was the birthplace of a supreme being? When he thought of this, even the experienced and knowledgeable Black Sky found it hard to believe. One had to understand that this type of place only existed in legends. When a supreme being achieved the Tao, the supreme being's great Tao would throw the world into chaos, opening up a unique world. In such a place, there were all kinds of power of the great path emerging. It seemed to be a flawless great path, but this was just an illusion. He Tian knew that the 5 elements Tao, yin-yang Tao, and even the primal chaos Tao were not perfect Taos. It was because a perfect Tao created a prime. It's you. Ji Changkong knew of He Tian. After all, he had followed Ji Yufei in the primal chaos world for a period of time. He Tian also knew of Ji Changkong's existence. Brat from the Ji clan, I didn't expect it to be you. He Tian was also surprised. But when he remembered that this place was the Crepe Myrtle Ancestral Star, he understood. The Ji clan was the ruler of the Crepe Myrtle Ancestral Star, a great clan that controlled the entire planet. This was something unimaginable in other ancestral planets. It should be known that an ancestral planet was extremely huge, and its territory was boundless. Since ancient times, even the Supremes could not control the entire ancestral planet. Chapter 2571. Yarrow Yu was sent into a killing formation by Ji Yufei to train. The killing formation evolved into a battlefield, allowing Yarrow Yu to fight against incomparably strong beasts. As a martial artist, fighting was the foundation. Raising one's cultivation and combat strength in battle, breaking through the shackles of cultivation was the most important part of a martial artist's cultivation. Because martial artists were born to be fighters. In the battlefield evolved by the killing formation, Yarrow Yu was facing 8 ferocious and powerful beasts. She was still calm and composed, even though she was injured. Yarrow Yu stood in the air. She glanced at the beasts that were approaching her. Her eyes were incomparably sharp and her battle intent was like a rainbow. On her back, there were 3 bloody claw marks that were flowing with blood. She had completely forgotten about the pain. The muscles all over her body were tense, ready to release an incomparably tyrannical power at any moment. This was the advantage of a martial body. The martial body contained incomparably strong power. It was the most suitable to fight with an opponent for a long time, exhausting them to death. Roar. The beasts roared. After the beast that was hidden in the fog succeeded in its attack, it retreated and waited for the next opportunity to attack. It was a cunning beast. The other beasts had tyrannical strength. They took heavy steps and slowly approached Yarrow Yu. The incomparably strong and ferocious aura caused the entire world to shake. The power of the killing formation was constantly increasing. The strength of the beasts that evolved from the killing formation was also constantly increasing. The terrifying aura caused the world to lose its color. Do you think that Yarrow you will be in danger? On a mountain peak far away from the killing formation stood a man and a woman. The man was dressed in black and looked like an ordinary person. He did not emit any tyrannical aura from his body. He was not very handsome, but he was very pleasing to the eye. Standing beside the black-robed young man was a woman in white. This woman had a peerless appearance and an extraordinary temperament. She did not look like someone that could be seen in the mortal world at all. Don't worry. Injuries are inevitable, but she won't die. The black-robed young man said. In the ancestral land of the demon clan, other than Jiyu Fei and Yang no one else had this right. The young man and woman on the mountain peak were Jiyu Fei and Yang A great change is about to occur. Only the strongest will be able to survive. Yang said. Is a change about to occur? Jiyu Fei suddenly looked up into the sky. His gaze was extremely deep, and there were Dao patterns faintly visible in it. It was as though he wanted to see through this universe. At this time, in the killing formation, Yarrow you had already fought with the beasts. It was an extremely fierce battle. They sensed a powerful wave of energy spreading from the backyard of the governor's mansion. What are Jiyu Fei and his disciple doing? Some people whispered. No one knew that Jiyu Zhong had already left the East Royal City. He had even left the Tenglong continent and gone to the Falling Stars continent. Could it be that the two of them are doing something big again? Some people guessed. Then, the spiritual chi from all directions began to gather towards the newly built formation platform. The runes imprinted on the formation platform lit up continuously. This formation platform was not only used for inter-region transportation, but it could also directly leave the Tenglong continent. Even the ancient powers might not have such a long-distance teleportation formation. Of course, if it was the inheritance of the Supremes, they might have a more powerful teleportation formation. It should be known that the Supremes of the ancient times were supreme beings who could roam the 3 realms and 6 Dao. Every ancestral star had left their footprints on it. There might be a teleportation formation between the 5 ancestral stars of the human world. This kind of teleportation formation could not be compared to ordinary teleportation formations. At this time, the ancient teleportation formation platform in the ancestral land of the demon race on the Falling Stars continent lit up again. A void door appeared on the formation platform. Rumble. Chapter 2573. Rumble. The platform vibrated, and a powerful wave of energy came from the East Royal City Lord's residence. The platform was completely activated, and a blurry void door appeared on the platform. Jiyu Fei's indestructible battle physique stood in front of the platform and watched this scene unfold. At that moment, he suddenly raised his head and gazed into the horizon. He saw a chariot rapidly approaching the East Royal Kingdom from afar. The chariot was pulled by 3 serpents. Each serpent gave off a powerful and ferocious aura. All the cultivators in the East Royal City were shocked. The powerful aura from the chariot made the sky feel like it was about to collapse. However, this was only a feeling that cultivators had. The stronger one's cultivation was, the more terrifying the feeling would be. However, the mortals in the city didn't feel anything at all. It's here. The eyes of Jiyu Fei's indestructible battle physique flashed, and an incomparably powerful aura erupted from his body. This is. The chariot crossed the void and came to the sky above the East Royal City. The middle-aged warrior standing on the chariot was surprised to see the platform in the Lord's residence. You're quite punctual. Jiyu Fei flew up to the sky and came to the opposite side of the chariot. This isn't your real body. The middle-aged warrior glanced at Jiyu Fei and said. Jiyu Fei couldn't help but be startled. This person was very powerful and terrifying. He was able to see through Jiyu Fei's real body at a glance. This was something that had never happened before. Are you really the legendary spiritual immortal sovereign? Ji Yufei's indestructible battle physique's expression became solemn. The opponent gave him an invisible pressure. This pressure was so strong that he couldn't help but be moved. The middle-aged warrior smiled and didn't say anything. Come, let me see who you are. Ji Yufei said. 9 golden Tao patterns emerged from his body, emitting a powerful aura of the great Tao. It was as if a golden god of war had appeared in the sky. Although it's powerful, it's just a refined tool. I'm not interested in fighting you. The middle-aged warrior shook his head and said. Good fellow, who do you think you are? Ji Yufei chuckled. He had never met such a person before. To think that he would dare to look down on him, even if it were an immortal lord, he would not dare to do so. I want to fight your real body. The middle-aged man glanced at Ji Yufei and said indifferently. He had no intention of attacking, as if he really didn't put Ji Yufei's indestructible war physique in his eyes. Defeat me first. Only then will you be qualified to fight against my real body. Ji Yufei's indestructible battle physique was like a rainbow. His long hair fluttered even though there was no wind. A heaven-shaking aura erupted from his body. The powerful force caused the surrounding space to tremble. All right then. He instantly returned to the war chariot. Roar! The old dragon roared and pulled the war chariot away in an instant, avoiding the spreading misty immortal light and stopping in the sky. At this time, the space portal on the formation platform in the City Lord's palace completely appeared. Then, an extremely powerful aura spread out from the space portal. It was as though a supreme existence was about to cross over from the space portal. This is, in the distant sky, the middle-aged warrior standing on the war chariot suddenly changed his expression. He then directly drove the war chariot and rushed into the distant sky, leaving just like that. What's going on? Seeing this scene, Ji Yufei's indestructible war physique couldn't help but be surprised. Why did this guy retreat just like that? At this time, a figure appeared behind the space portal. The powerful aura made the world tremble. At this moment, all the cultivators in the East Royal Kingdom were terrified. What's going on? Is a supreme existence coming to the East Royal Kingdom? Someone exclaimed. Rumble! Thunder rumbled from the depths of the sky. This was a sign that the power of heaven's wrath was about to be activated. A terrifying aura of destruction descended from the depths of the sky. This was a terrifying aura that could make all living beings in the world feel despair. After the figure in the space portal sensed this aura, the supreme pressure from the space portal immediately retracted. Then, a figure walked out from the space portal. It was a handsome young man in purple robes. This young man was like the incarnation of the immortal path. The aura of the great Tao revolved around him and 9 immortal rings appeared behind his head. This person was Heavenly Emperor Zi Yang. To be precise, he was Immortal Sovereign Zi Yang. What's going on? Why is there that person's aura here? After Heavenly Emperor Zi Yang walked out of the space portal, he immediately frowned. He then took a step forward and disappeared into the void. At this time, all the cultivators in the East Royal Kingdom heaved a sigh of relief. He left just like that. Ji Yufei's indestructible battle physique was surprised to see Heavenly Emperor Zi Yang leaving right after crossing a region. At this time, another powerful figure appeared in the space portal above the formation platform. Then, that person walked out. This person was shrouded in a layer of fiery light, like an ancient god of fire. As soon as he walked out of the space portal, the temperature in the City Lord's residence rose by a lot. My lord, the Iron-Blood Daoist hurriedly came forward to greet Ji Yufei's indestructible battle physique. Ji Yufei's indestructible battle physique nodded and did not say anything. At this time, one powerful figure after another appeared behind the space portal and walked out. In an instant, incomparably powerful auras were emitted from the City Lord's residence. What's going on? Why are there so many experts in the City Lord's residence? All the cultivators in the East Royal Kingdom were extremely shocked, especially the spies of the Dongfang family in the city. All of them were staring at the City Lord's residence. No one knew what was happening in the city lord's residence. Everyone was extremely curious, but no one dared to peep at the city lord's residence at this time. This time, Jiu Fei's real body did not come to the East Royal Kingdom. However, there were many overseas experts from the Falling Stars continent who crossed over to the East Royal Kingdom. There were 7 or 8 saint-level experts. Even Heavenly Emperor Ziyang came. This time, Jiu Fei let these people take the lead. An hour later, the formation platform in the City Lord's residence gradually stopped operating. The space portal above the formation platform disappeared into the void. In the City Lord's residence stood a group of incomparably powerful experts. This was a terrifying force. Even if one of them walked out, the entire East Royal Kingdom would be shaken. What's going on? Why are there so many experts in the City Lord's residence? Sensing the incomparably powerful auras coming from the City Lord's residence, all the cultivators in the East Royal Kingdom were extremely shocked. There were 7 or 8 true saintly auras coming from the City Lord's residence. This made the spies of the Dongfang family feel very uneasy. Perhaps something terrible was about to happen. Very soon, the Ironblood Daoist led the 12 great bandits into action. All of the Dongfang family's strongholds in the East Royal Kingdom were directly wiped out. The family has already reached a critical juncture of life and death. Could it be that the legends of the family are false? Some of the high-ranking members of the Dongfang family felt uneasy. After all, Jiu Fei had already begun to act. The Dongfang family could only hide in the ancestral land, not daring to leave. This was too depressing. Just as everyone was feeling a little disappointed, a stone coffin floating in the chaotic energy seemed to shake. This shocked the high-ranking members of the Dongfang family. However, at this time, an incomparably powerful figure appeared on a mountain peak outside the ancestral land of the Dongfang family. What a great land of ascension! A divine land in the human world. A middle-aged man in a purple robe appeared on the mountain peak amidst the swirling purple energy. This person was Heavenly Emperor Ziyang. The arrival of Heavenly Emperor Ziyang made the experts guarding the ancestral land of the Dongfang family very nervous. Who are you? This is my ancestral land. Leave at once. A young expert holding a divine cauldron walked out. Temph, Heavenly Emperor Ziyang sneered. He waved his hand and a purple immortal light immediately rushed out of his hand, striking the expert of the Dongfang family. The immortal light streaked across the sky like a rainbow. It directly pierced through the great formation protecting the ancestral land of the Dongfang family and pierced through the young expert. The young expert immediately turned into a cloud of blood mist. Even the divine cauldron in his hand shattered. What? When the others saw this, their shock was no small matter. Although it was only the first layer of the great formation, it was indeed an ancestral formation. It was extremely powerful. Even if a Saint Emperor were to come, he wouldn't be able to break through this formation. However, this person easily broke through the formation and killed a powerhouse. At this time, all the experts of the Dongfang family in the first layer of the ancestral formation felt a chill in their hearts. It was hard to imagine what kind of existence this was. Even the ancestors of your family have to be courteous to me. Who do you think you are? Heavenly Emperor Ziyang glanced at the experts of the Dongfang family in the first layer of the ancestral formation and said disapprovingly, "Just who are you?" A white-haired old man walked up and stared at Heavenly Emperor Ziyang on the opposite mountain peak. "You don't have the right to know who I am," Heavenly Emperor Ziyang said indifferently. All right. The old man's gaze became fierce and fierce. He didn't make a move. Instead, he directly led the experts in the first layer of the ancestral formation and retreated into the second layer of the ancestral formation. The ancestral formation that enveloped the entire ancestral land of the Dongfang family had a total of 9 layers. The 9 layers of the ancestral formation made the ancestral land of the Dongfang family impregnable. Since ancient times, it seemed that no one had been able to break through the ancestral land of the Dongfang family. Heavenly Emperor Ziyang didn't make another move. These people weren't worth his time. He carefully observed the human god land in front of him. In the human world, there aren't many divine lands like this. After a long time, Heavenly Emperor Ziyang retracted his gaze and closed his eyes. After pondering for a while, he directly soared into the sky and left the ancestral land of the Dongfang family. Seeing that Heavenly Emperor Ziyang had left, the old man in the second layer of the ancestral formation heaved a sigh of relief. The pressure that Heavenly Emperor Ziyang gave him was too great. Just who is this person? The old man muttered to himself. The identity of Heavenly Emperor Ziyang was very mysterious. The people of the Dongfang family only knew that there was at least one Saint Venerable in Jiyu Fei's camp. However, no one knew the origin of this Saint Venerable. Could it be him? The old man said in shock. At this time, the upper echelons of the Dongfang family were gathered in the Chaos Cavern. No one paid attention to the sudden arrival and departure of Heavenly Emperor Ziyang. The people of the Dongfang family naturally didn't know the identity of Heavenly Emperor Ziyang. If they knew the origin of Heavenly Emperor Ziyang, these people wouldn't be so calm. However, just as the powerhouses of the Dongfang family were holed up in the ancestral land, another force in the eastern domain, the demons, also became restless. In the area where Taishen Mountain used to be, an incomparably huge demonic cave was swallowing and spitting out incomparably pure demonic chi. The demonic chi connected the sky and the earth, and there was a vague demonic shadow inside. The internal affairs of the human race. The opportunity for us, the demons, has come. An old voice came from the depths of the demon cave. There was a demonic nature in the voice. This was a kind of demonic voice. If a cultivator with a weak cultivation heard this voice, he was afraid that the inner demons would be drawn out and there would be the danger of becoming a demon. At the edge of the demonic territory, the figures of demons began to appear. Ferocious and terrifying demonic beings began to rush out of the demonic territory from time to time. They slaughtered in the territory of the human race and collected the souls and essence of the human race. The territory of the Dongfang family was constantly being attacked by demonic beings. Some powerful demon generals began to appear and directly occupied the territory that originally belonged to the Dongfang family. Preposterous. Chapter 2575. Demons were the greatest enemies of all living beings in the world. Demons brought about death and destruction. Demons used the blood and divine souls of all living beings to cultivate and improve their cultivation. Wherever demons appeared, there would be no lack of bloodshed. Just as Jiyu Fei and the Dongfang family were fighting, the demons of the East region began to move and began to encroach on the Dongfang family's territory. The territory of the Dongfang family was enough to make any cultivation power in the Tenglong continent jealous. It was a big piece of meat, but not everyone could have a bite of it. Those who knew about Jiyu Fei's background chose to watch from the sidelines. Even the Zhao family of the ancients, who almost formed an alliance with the Dongfang family, chose to remain silent. However, the demons jumped out at this time. Rumble, at noon, a demon general led his demon soldiers and attacked a city controlled by the Dongfang family. Pitch-black demon chi shrouded half the sky. The human city was in chaos. The demons attacked and it was impossible for them to resist. It should be known that the people of the Dongfang family had fled the city. The remaining cultivators guarding the city were all old and weak soldiers. There were no experts at all. In the past, the demons would not attack the city at all with the experts of the Dongfang family guarding it. However, it was different now. What should we do? When the cultivators guarding the city saw the surging demonic energy rapidly approaching the city, everyone on the city wall was shocked. Within the demonic energy, one could vaguely see a ferocious demonic shadow. Ha ha, such strong chi and blood. There is a lot of blood in this city. The leading demon general laughed loudly, and the countless demon soldiers standing behind him also laughed loudly. The wanton laughter caused everyone in the city to feel a chill down their spines. Just as the demons arrived, the defensive array of the city was activated. Countless Dao patterns rushed out from the surroundings of the city, intertwining to form a layer of light screen that enveloped the entire city. Ha ha, do you want to struggle before death? Devil Chi blotted out the sky and covered the earth. On top of the devil clouds stood a tall devil general wearing devil armor. He had 2 black devil horns on his head. This demon general exuded a heaven-shaking baleful aura. Demonic shadows flickered around him, struggling. They were formed from the resentment of the countless lives that had died in his hands. To be able to form such a baleful aura, it was unknown how many living beings had died in the hands of this demon general. Who will go and break the formation? The demon general said to the demon soldiers standing behind him. It's my turn this time. Just then, the leader of the demonic soldiers, who looked like a small mountain and wielded a mace, walked over. This was a demonic stone that was cultivated from a demonic stone. Very good, stone, this time it's your turn. The demon general nodded and said, "Roar." Hearing this, the stone demon immediately roared in anger and rushed out. He rode on a demonic cloud and pounced towards the city below. His demonic might was astonishing. Boom. The stone demon swung the mace in his hand at the layer of divine light above the city. The entire layer of divine light shook and countless runes appeared. Roar. The stone demon roared at the sky and his violent aura instantly increased. Lines of demonic runes appeared on his body and the power of the demonic path erupted, surging towards the mace in his hand. Boom. A loud sound was heard as the stone demon swung his mace down again. This time, the layer of divine light above the city shook violently and cracks appeared on it. This is bad. Seeing this scene, the cultivators in the city were terrified. Without an expert to hold the fort, the true power of the city defense formation could not be unleashed. Even a small demonic soldier was able to shake the city defense formation. This time, Stone Demon got lucky. The leader of the demonic soldiers standing behind the demon general said with a smile. At this moment, a monstrous demonic aura enveloped the entire world. Even though it was noon, the area around the city seemed to have fallen into darkness. The sky was dark and demonic figures could be seen faintly. Chilly winds howled and the area seemed to have turned into a demonic domain. The humans in the entire city were terrified. They knew very well that if the demons outside were to break through the city defense formation, the consequences would be unimaginable. One should know that wherever the demons passed, not even the fowls and dogs would be spared. Boom. Loud crashing sounds were heard continuously and the entire world was shaking. The loud sounds seemed to be knocking on the hearts of everyone in the city, causing them to feel an extremely strong sense of oppression. Haha, this tortoise shell is really hard. The stone demon laughed wantonly and smashed the mace in his hand continuously. Cracks appeared on the layer of divine light, densely packed like a spider's web. It looked as though the layer of divine light could collapse at any time. The stone demon is about to succeed. That much blood and flesh is enough to raise his cultivation by 1 level. Behind the demon general, the leader of the demonic soldiers was filled with envy. With the stone demon leading the charge, he would be the first to enter the city and would be the first to enjoy this feast. To the devil race, humans and other creatures were food that could increase their cultivation. All the devil race members were accumulating power, waiting for a chance to strike. When the defensive formation of the city was breached, they would swarm in and devour all the living creatures in the city. Chapter 2576. Jiyu Zhong killed the stone devil with a single punch, causing the demons to turn pale with fright. They hurriedly stopped and no longer dared to pounce towards the city below. Although the flesh and blood below was delicious, they would never be able to enjoy such flesh and blood again if they were to die. Who's that person? He actually killed that rotten stone with a single punch. The voice of a leader of the demons who had the head of a bull and the body of a human was trembling. Didn't they say that there weren't any human experts in this city? How did such a powerful expert suddenly appear? The group of demon leaders led countless demon soldiers to a stop in the sky, forming a black mass that emitted an earth-shattering demonic aura. However, countless demon soldiers were stunned by a single figure. One must know that the stone devil wasn't a weakling. Among the leaders of the demons, he was definitely one of the top existences. Moreover, the physique of the stone devil was different from the rest. It was a demonic stone that had gained sentience and cultivated to become an expert of the demons. Its demonic body was incomparably tough and ordinary divine weapons wouldn't be able to harm it at all. This person could actually kill the stone devil with a single punch. This kind of combat strength was simply too frightening. Only a Lord Demon General would be able to deal with this fellow. I didn't think that there would be such a powerful expert in this small human city. The demonic clouds rumbled. On top of the clouds, the Demon General muttered to himself. Ji Yuzhong's appearance was out of his expectations. It seemed like the information he had gathered previously was wrong. The experts of the demons were definitely not reckless people. The reason why they dared to snatch the territory of the Dongfang family was because they were well prepared. However, it seemed like things weren't going as smoothly as the experts of the demons had expected. At this moment, Ji Yuzhong, who was standing on top of a roof in the city, made his move. He stretched out his right hand and pressed it towards the sky. Retreat. Just as Ji Yuzhong made his move, a loud roar rang out from the clouds. The group of demons trembled and the leaders of the demons immediately soared into the sky, wanting to lead their subordinates to retreat. However, it was too late. Rumble. A huge golden hand appeared in the void and slapped towards the sky. The huge hand enveloped all directions and actually enveloped a part of the world. Roar. A series of furious roars echoed in the sky. Then, like an ancient golden mountain, the giant golden hand crushed through the sky. Clouds of bloody mist appeared, and countless demonic soldiers were crushed into bloody mist by the golden hand. Their bodies and souls were destroyed, and even the powerful leaders of the demonic soldiers were no exception. On the cloud, that devil general was greatly alarmed. The sun shone brightly in the sky. There wasn't a trace of devil chi left. The invading demons were all annihilated. Humph. Do you really think that there's no one left in the human race? Ji Yuzhong stood high up in the sky, looking in the direction of the devil cave. His eyes flickered. Although he had killed the demon general, his battle intent didn't diminish. Swish. He vanished into the void. No one could see how he did it. Not long after Ji Yuzhong left, a fiery light rushed over from afar. Within the fiery light, a silhouette could be vaguely seen. Powerful fire elemental energy spread out from the silhouette. Ironblood Daoist had arrived. Where did that bastard Ji Yuzhong go? Ironblood Daoist sensed the surrounding chi. His expression gradually turned solemn. That direction. Could it be that bastard is trying to break into the devil cave? Ironblood Daoist muttered to himself. After pondering for a moment, he turned into a fiery light and rushed towards the direction of the devil cave, disappearing into the horizon very quickly. At this time, a great battle broke out in the vicinity of the devil cave. A golden silhouette was rampaging in this devil domain. Wherever he went, none of the demons could withstand a single strike from him. Very soon, the entire domain was boiling. Devil beasts roared and demons bellowed. Powerful silhouettes rushed out from the direction of the devil cave. However, like moths flying into a flame, those powerful demons were smashed into balls of devil blood by a pair of golden fists. Their bodies and souls were destroyed. Roar. Chapter 2577. When Ji Yuzhong charged into the devil's domain, the Ironblood Daoist sent the news back. Ji Yuzhong, this brat. Hearing this news, Ji Yufei's indestructible war physique didn't say anything. The demons had been very restless lately, and it was time to teach them a lesson. However, no one knew which demons were guarding the depths of the devil's den. For safety reasons, Ji Yufei sent out the 12 great bandits. He then left the East Imperial City. With Heavenly the Arch-Ziyang guarding the East Imperial City, he wasn't afraid that the Dongfang clan would attack the city while it was empty. At this moment, Ji Yuzhong was like an ancient golden god of war that had descended into the world. His entire body radiated with golden light, and 9 golden patterns of the way appeared faintly on his body. With every punch, patterns of the way rushed out from his fists. The power of the Great Path was vast and invincible. Bam! A ferocious demon the size of a small mountain was immediately smashed into a bloody mist and dissipated in the void. Both its body and soul were destroyed. Roar. At this time, an extremely powerful divine will came from the front. Then, heavy footsteps could be heard, and the ground shook. A dazzling black light appeared in front of Ji Yuzhong. It was like a black sun, and it emitted a terrifying demonic aura. This is, when Ji Yuzhong saw the devil charging at him, his heart couldn't help trembling. It was a pitch-black devil dragon, a bone dragon. That devilish light that resembled a black sun was a soul devil flame that bloomed from the bone dragon's skull. The demonic soul fire was incomparably vigorous, and this bone dragon's combat strength was also incomparably strong. Moreover, this was the bone of a saint-level demon dragon. There were black demonic patterns on the bone, and demonic light circulated. Finally, a decent opponent. When Ji Yuzhong saw this bone dragon, the battle intent in his body was immediately ignited. The golden aura on his body pulsed like a golden divine fire. Boom! The void trembled. As soon as the bone dragon appeared, it opened its mouth and spat out a pitch-black demonic fire towards Ji Yuzhong. Under the burning of the demonic fire, the void was silently annihilated. Within the demonic fire, demonic markings were faintly discernible. This was a kind of terrifying demonic fire that even sages would retreat upon encountering. If one was burned by this kind of demonic fire, even the physical body of a sage would not be able to withstand it and would be burned to ashes. Come. Ji Yuzhong's will to fight was like a rainbow. He broke through the layers of demonic fire and attacked the bone dragon. 9 golden patterns appeared on his body, activating the power of the Great Path and blocking the demonic fire outside his body. Swoosh! Just as Ji Yuzhong was nearing the bone dragon, a pitch-black bone claw directly grabbed at him from the sky. On the bone claw, a black light rushed out and tore through the void. Ji Yuzhong roared and punched upwards. He used the metal element fist. The powerful fist energy was like a volcanic eruption, causing the void in front of his fist to tremble. Boom! Ji Yuzhong's fist collided with the bone claw descending from the sky, resulting in a loud explosion. The two powerful forces unleashed a terrifying might. The black demonic markings and the golden patterns intertwined and destroyed each other. The huge bone dragon was pushed back by Ji Yuzhong's punch, causing the ground to crack. Ji Yuzhong, on the other hand, was like a golden divine mountain, motionless. Again, Ji Yuzhong was incomparably powerful. His whole body emitted an indomitable momentum. When his eyes opened and closed, there was a dazzling golden light blooming. A huge golden hand appeared in the void, emitting a shocking wave of power. It directly slapped at the bone dragon. A pitch-black spatial crack suddenly appeared in front of the huge golden hand like black lightning. From the spatial crack, there was chaotic chi seeping out. Ji Yuzhong used the sky-covering palm. The bone dragon knew that it was powerful. It also used its full strength. The demonic soul fire in the bone dragon's skull emitted a bright black light. It rose like a black sun and pressed forward. A terrifying demonic aura spread in all directions. At this time, the nearby demonic creatures had retreated far away. No demons dared to approach. Most of the demons couldn't intervene in a battle of this level. Bam! Ji Yuzhong's sky-covering palm directly slapped on the black light. A powerful martial arts power erupted. 9 golden patterns emerged on the huge hand. The demonic light was directly hit back, and the 9 demonic patterns were hidden in the demonic light. After Ji Yuzhong's golden hand shook off the ball of demonic light, it continued to move forward and firmly slapped the demonic dragon's body. Cracking sounds rang out incessantly as the massive bone dragon was sent flying by Ji Yuzhong's palm strike. Countless cracks appeared on its bones, which were even harder than sacred artifacts. Her! Ji Yuzhong fell from the sky and landed on the ground. At this time, the huge golden hand dissipated in the void. He was surprised to see that the bone dragon didn't collapse after withstanding his palm. The heaven-encompassing palm that he had unleashed earlier could even shatter a sacred artifact. However, this bone dragon was not shattered by his attack. Could it be that this guy's bones are harder than divine artifacts? Ji Yuzhong muttered to himself. The way he looked at the bone dragon was a little different. This bone dragon was definitely an extremely powerful existence when it was alive. He didn't give the bone dragon a chance to breathe. He directly used the 8 desolate steps and took a step forward. In an instant, he approached the bone dragon that had just stabilized its body. Buzz. Chapter 2578. Ji Yuzhong used one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the primordial spirit Tao sword secret technique, to kill the bone dragon. However, a demonic figure silently appeared behind him as he killed the bone dragon. The demonic projection had fused with the surrounding space, becoming one with the world. There were definitely not many people in this world who could sense his existence. Ji Yuzhong was one of them. Good move. You actually managed to get behind me without me noticing. Ji Yuzhong didn't turn around. He was very calm. He knew that the devil behind him was very strong and was worthy of him using all his strength to deal with it. At this time, his spirit, energy, and spirit were all concentrated on the devil behind him. He cultivated one of the 9 esoteric secrets of the immortal Tao, the anti-void esoteric art. He had mastered the void esoteric art, so he could naturally sense the mysterious demonic shadow's arrival. You can actually discover me. Amazing. The devilish figure behind Ji Yuzhong said. 2 blood-red lights lit up in the sky. Those were the eyes of the devilish figure, blood-red pupils. What's so difficult about that? He just happened to sense the existence of the demon behind him. The other party had very deep attainments in the great Tao of the void. He even suspected that the demon behind him had also cultivated the anti-void secret technique. Of course, throughout the ages, the Supreme Tao ancestor was not the only one who had great attainments in the void great Tao. There had been many unparalleled demons. It was not strange that some demon race powerhouses cultivated the void great Tao and cultivated this Tao to a high level. Since ancient times, only a handful of people have been able to cultivate the Tao of the void to its pinnacle. The fact that you were able to sense my arrival means that you are also an expert in the Tao of the void. The demon behind Ji Yuzhong said. Really? Ji Yuzhong declined to comment. At this moment, he didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. Because he knew that if he revealed the slightest flaw, then his opponent would launch a lethal strike at him. This kind of attack that was launched with such a high concentration of essence, qi, and spirit, the power it displayed was absolutely terrifying. All of Ji Yuzhong's muscles were tensed up, and a layer of sweat had already appeared on his forehead. An incomparably powerful force was accumulating within his body, waiting to be unleashed. Right now, he was clearly at a disadvantage, because his opponent was only a foot behind him, standing in the air. At such a close distance, if the demon suddenly attacked, even someone as strong as Ji Yuzhong would be in danger. However, the demon would not easily attack. You are very nervous. The devil behind Ji Yuzhong suddenly said. At this time, the surroundings were silent. The countless demonic creatures suddenly disappeared. Perhaps it was because of the demon that suddenly appeared behind Ji Yuzhong. In the dusky world, the demonic clouds in the sky looked like they were about to fall to the ground. The atmosphere in the entire infernal domain became extremely oppressive. Ji Yuzhong didn't say anything, but his clothes were drenched in sweat. You must be Ji Yuzhong from the human race. The successor of the martial ancestor's bloodline is indeed extraordinary. The demon continued. Ji Yuzhong was taken aback. He didn't expect the demon behind him to know about his origins. Haha, no need to be surprised. When you attacked just now, you used a martial arts combat skill. Only the successor of the martial ancestor's bloodline could cultivate such a powerful combat skill. In the entire Tenglong continent, it seems that only Ji Yufei has obtained such an inheritance. The demon explained. Ji Yuzhong snorted coldly, but he didn't say anything. The 2 experts became silent. Ji Yuzhong didn't attack, and the demon didn't attack either. They were waiting for the opponent to reveal a flaw so that they could kill him in one strike. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Not a single demonic creature appeared in the surroundings. The demon standing behind Ji Yuzhong didn't summon any other helpers. As a famous expert among the demons, he still had some pride. Boom. At this time, a loud sound was heard. A fiery light suddenly appeared in the sky. The fiery light broke through the demonic aura above the infernal domain and descended from the sky. In the fiery light, there was a figure. In the fiery light, there was a vague figure of a red divine bird. An incomparably powerful fire elemental energy spread out, dispersing the heavy demonic aura. The arrival of this expert had completely broken the peace of the infernal domain. Roar! At this instant, Ji Yuzhong roared in rage and instantly acted. Clanging sounds rang out from his body as rays of golden sword chi shot out from his body, piercing towards the devil behind him. Every ray of golden sword chi contained a golden Tao pattern. This was the sword chi of the great Tao, which could destroy everything. Buzz! The void trembled. The demon had no choice but to attack. A pitch-black beast claw stretched out from the demon's body and clawed at Ji Yuzhong. The sound of metal clashing was heard. The golden sword chi that rushed out from Ji Yuzhong's body slashed on the beast claw, leaving many wounds on the beast claw. However, the beast claw also displayed great power. A powerful demonic energy burst out from the beast claw and broke the golden sword chi. Swoosh! Ji Yuzhong's body flashed and turned into a sword of the Tao. He headed straight for the beast claw. The golden sword chi instantly sliced the beast claw into two, causing it to dissipate into the void. This sword chi was extremely powerful. After destroying the beast claw, it headed straight for the demon. Under the impact of the chilling sword chi, the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. Swoosh! The demon disappeared into the void, wanting to avoid the golden sword chi that Ji Yuzhong had turned into. However, Ji Yuzhong had cultivated the anti-void secret skill and had grasped the profound meaning of the great Tao of the void. Just as the demon entered the void, the dazzling sword chi entered the void as well and chased after it. What? The demon was taken aback. He had not expected that this human's understanding of the great Tao of the void had reached such a level. To think that he would be able to chase after it. Swoosh! Wherever the sword chi passed, a sword wound appeared on the body of the demon. Demonic blood oozed out from the wound. This sword had forced the demon out from the void. Roar! The demon roared and opened his mouth to spit out a demonic saber, which went to meet the golden sword light that was chasing after him. The demonic blade clashed with the sword chi. However, the demonic blade was shredded by the sword chi very quickly. Ji Yuzhong's figure appeared in the void once more. How could this be? Chapter 2579. Ji Yuzhong's power was unparalleled. He turned into a sword of light of the great path, shattering the demon's demonic blade and suppressing the demon. Do you need help? A voice came down from the sky. The newcomer stood in the air, surrounded by flames. The shadow of a divine bird could be vaguely seen in the flames, and the aura of the great path permeated the air. This was a man who looked like an ancient god of fire. He had cultivated the great path of fire to perfection. This person was the Ironblood Daoist. No need. Ji Yuzhong's figure appeared. Streaks of golden light circled around him like golden lightning. Each streak of light exuded an extremely powerful aura of the great path. How can your combat ability be? Could it be that you've cultivated one of the 9 secrets of the immortal path, the secret method of ascension? The demon was extremely shocked. You're quite knowledgeable. Ji Yuzhong looked at the demon shrouded in demonic aura and said calmly. Just now, he had used the secret method of ascension. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to suppress the demon. It really is the legendary 9 secrets of the immortal path. The demon was shocked. Ji Yuzhong had actually cultivated such an undefeatable secret method of the immortal path. The 9 secrets of the immortal path were extremely famous even in ancient times, especially for the demons. The 9 secrets of the immortal path had a special meaning. It should be noted that the cultivators of the immortal path had fought many battles against the demons. Every time the demons wanted to do something, they would be firmly suppressed by the cultivators of the immortal path. The number of demons that had died in the hands of the cultivators of the immortal path was innumerable. Come! Ji Yuzhong's fighting intent surged. An extremely powerful aura erupted from his body, and the air around him rippled like water. Damn it! The 9 secrets of the immortal path aren't invincible. The demon was also surging with fighting intent. Powerful demonic power erupted from his body. Endless demonic aura surged out and instantly enveloped the entire world. Rumble, the world shook. All the demonic creatures in the demonic realm were terrified. It was as if a peerless demon had appeared in this part of the world. In the midst of the devil chi, pieces of pitch-black scales emerged on the fierce devil's body, and 2 devil horns quickly grew out of his forehead. Cracking sounds kept coming out from the demon's body. His muscles and bones were vibrating and his body was rapidly growing taller. Black thorns pierced through the clothes on the demon's back. This is, Ji Yuzhong's eyes flickered with golden light and golden runes appeared in the depths of his eyes. His gaze pierced through the dense demonic aura and landed on the body of the transforming ferocious demon. Although this ferocious devil had the appearance of a human before, it was now transforming into a devil. It was a ferocious and terrifying devil. Roar! The ferocious devil raised its head to the sky and roared. A ball of demonic light emerged from its body. The ferocious devil had finally transformed into its perfect form. A heaven-shaking fiendish aura emanated from its body. Why don't you take advantage of the fact that this guy's battle prowess hasn't reached its peak yet? The Iron-Blood Daoist said to Ji Yuzhong after retreating far into the sky. There's no rush. I want to kill this demon when it's at its strongest. Ji Yuzhong replied, brimming with confidence. The Iron-Blood Daoist shook his head and didn't say anything more. Human, you're too arrogant. The ferocious devil roared as a pair of blood-red eyes appeared within the demonic aura. After that, it glanced at Ji Yuzhong. This gaze was cold without a single trace of emotion. Devils killed the world and fed on the essence, chi, and vitality of the masses. They were cold-blooded and emotionless by nature. Within the human race, there were some who had walked on the path of the devil. Once their demonic nature was ignited, they would even slay their own sons with a single slash without the slightest bit of mercy. Haha, this isn't arrogance. This is confidence. Ji Yuzhong laughed out loud. Your confidence will kill you. The ferocious devil coldly spoke as its blood-red eyes opened and closed within the demonic aura. The terrifying demonic energy emanating from its body grew stronger and stronger. Is that so? Ji Yuzhong smiled. He didn't think much of it. Kill. The ferocious devil attacked. It didn't want to waste any more time with Ji Yuzhong. With a loud roar, it extended its claws towards Ji Yuzhong. The pitch-black claws instantly enveloped the entire sky, tearing apart the void and trapping Ji Yuzhong within. Yeah, it's much stronger than before. Ji Yuzhong could sense the powerful demonic energy rippling from the claws. He couldn't help but feel shocked. This ferocious devil was indeed strong. Without any hesitation, Ji Yuzhong used the 8 desolation steps and soared into the sky. After that, he transformed into a divine saber and slashed towards the demonic claw that was coming down from the sky. Clang! The dazzling saber light instantly slashed against the demonic claw, emitting an ear-piercing sound of metal clashing. The demonic claw wasn't cut off, but Ji Yuzhong's golden divine saber was flung away instead. Saint-level demonic body. Up in the sky, the Iron-Blood Daoist couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this. The demonic body of this ferocious devil was extremely strong. This ferocious devil wasn't as simple as a saint-level one. Swoosh! The golden divine saber broke through the void and rushed out from the demonic claw. The golden divine saber disappeared and Ji Yuzhong's figure appeared in the void. This was a battle technique that Ji Yuzhong created based on the weapon fusion technique. Some powerful demons were alarmed by the divine phoenix that the Iron-Blood Daoist had transformed into. Divine phoenix. At this moment, the blood-hair demon's eyes were incomparably bright. His blood-red pupils were like 2 blood-red stars, flickering in the demonic chi. A terrifying demonic shadow appeared on his body and roared at the Iron-Blood Daoist. A terrifying demonic might surged out, shaking the heavens and earth. Boom! The 2 experts collided with each other in an instant, erupting with a power that could destroy the heavens and the earth. The entire void collapsed in an instant, and the two supreme figures directly collided into the chaos. Bursts of thunder came from the depths of the sky. The cultivation displayed by these two great experts had already crossed the red line allowed by the human realm. This state was very dangerous. It was like playing with fire. Once the red line was crossed, the power of heaven's wrath would descend. Unless one was a human emperor or a supreme existence, anyone would die under the power of heaven's wrath. No one dared to challenge the power of heaven's wrath lightly, because there would only be one outcome, and that was death. The iron-blood daoist transformed into a divine phoenix and fought with the blood-hair demonic man into the depths of the chaos. At this moment, Jiyu Zhong and the ferocious demon fought again. Boom! Jiyu Zhong was like the reincarnation of the immemorial god of war. He shattered the heavens and earth with one punch. He did not use the sacred level Dao law, so he was not worried about attracting the power of heaven's wrath. It was purely the power of the martial body. It did not involve the sacred level Dao law. The powerful martial body surged in his body, emitting bursts of thunderous sounds. Rumble, the heavens and earth shook. The ferocious demon also displayed its supreme physique. Demons' physique was originally much stronger than humans. Demons were creatures that only knew how to kill. However, the path of martial arts created by the martial ancestor allowed the human race to open up a powerful treasure trove of the human body. The strength of the martial body was not weaker than any other creature. Bam! Boom! The two great experts continuously clashed. They were so fast that even their shadows could not be seen. One after another, huge chaos holes continuously exploded in the void. In front of these two great experts, the void of heaven and earth was as fragile as a thin piece of paper. Terrifying energy waves shook the entire devil domain. Even the devil's den was affected. This was a shocking battle. Jiyu Zhong and the ferocious demon had raised their cultivation to infinitely close to the limits of the human realm. Not everyone could raise their cultivation to this level. Because if they were not careful, they would attract the power of heaven's wrath. Bam! The ferocious demon was sent flying. One of its horns was broken by Jiyu Zhong's punch. Half of its skull was smashed. Devil blood splattered everywhere. Its devil body was severely injured. However, Jiyu Zhong was also scratched by the ferocious demon's sharp claws. His left arm was drenched in blood. Even his bones were exposed. The ferocious demon's devil body shook. The broken half of its skull was immediately repaired. With his cultivation at this level, as long as he didn't suffer a fatal injury, even if his body was smashed into a bloody mist, he could still regenerate. After the ferocious demon's death, golden light flowed on Jiyu Zhong's left arm. His torn arm rapidly healed, and the true devil power that invaded his arm was forced out. It seems that without using special methods, I can't kill this ferocious demon. Jiyu Zhong's expression was incomparably solemn. He stood in the void, like a golden divine fire jumping around. The battle intent emitted from his body became even stronger. Human, why aren't you continuing to attack? The ferocious demon walked over from afar. Demonic chi filled the sky. A demonic shadow appeared indistinctly between heaven and earth. A heart-palpitating demonic aura spread out from the demonic shadow. At this time, the cultivators outside the devil domain were alarmed. What's going on? Did someone enter the depths of the devil domain? On the peak of a mountain, a middle-aged daoist stood. He activated his divine eyes and looked into the depths of the devil domain. However, the entire devil domain was enveloped by the powerful great Tao energy. He could only see the monstrous demonic chi. Other than that, he couldn't see anything else. Jiyu Zhong didn't disappoint me. In another place outside the devil domain, on a cloud, a black-robed youth was muttering to himself. His gaze pierced through the demonic chi, directly looking into it. Some experts were alarmed by the battle in the devil domain. There were powerful figures appearing outside the devil domain. Who entered the devil domain? Someone muttered. One must know that not everyone dared to enter the eastern devil domain. Even the experts from the desolate ancient Zhao clan and Dongfang clan didn't dare to enter it easily. One must know that there were unimaginable devils guarding the depths of the devil domain. Some people said that there was at least one devil ancestor-level existence sleeping in the devil domain. Jiyu Zhong only entered the devil domain on a whim. No one knew that he was the one who killed his way into the devil domain. He didn't enter the devil domain and fought with the ferocious devil outside the devil domain. Alright, it's time to end this. Jiyu Zhong looked at the approaching devil and a smile suddenly appeared on his face. End. The ferocious devil stared at Jiyu Zhong. The blood-red light emitted from its blood-red eyes was more than 10 feet long. It was like a blood-red devil sword swallowing sword chi. After that, Jiyu Zhong's figure suddenly disappeared into thin air. What? The ferocious devil was shocked. It also cultivated the great Tao of Void, but at this time, it actually couldn't sense Jiyu Zhong's existence. In the next moment, Jiyu Zhong's figure suddenly appeared on the right side of the ferocious devil. The ferocious devil didn't even think and directly clawed at Jiyu Zhong. 5 extremely sharp devil lights shot out from the devil's claws, directly tearing the void apart. However, at this time, another figure appeared behind the ferocious devil. A palm landed on the ferocious devil's back, and a violent force instantly erupted. Crack! The sound of bones breaking immediately came from the fierce devil's body. Its spine was broken into several pieces by that palm strike, and its flesh, tendons, and bones were shattered. Numerous cracks appeared on the devil's body, as if it was a delicate porcelain that had been broken. Roar! How is this possible? The ferocious devil roared and flew forward. However, in the next moment, the opposite Jiyu Zhong also attacked. A golden sword light rushed out from the forehead of the opposite Jiyu Zhong, strangling the ferocious devil. Swoosh! The golden light flashed and the ferocious devil's head flew up. At this time, a scene that made the ferocious devil despair appeared. High up in the sky, another figure appeared. A huge golden hand emitted a terrifying aura of destruction, grabbing down from the sky. Without any suspense, the ferocious devil's head was directly crushed by the golden hand that grabbed down from the sky. Even the devil's primordial spirit couldn't escape and died just like that. 3 figures appeared in the sky. They were 3 Jiyu Chongs, and every single one of them radiated with extremely powerful energy ripples. This brat is getting more and more proficient in using the 3 purities Jiyu Zhong. Outside the devil realm, the black-robed youth on the cloud couldn't help but nod when he saw this scene. This black-robed youth was none other than Jiyu Fei's undying battle physique. Since Jiyu Zhong came to the devil cave, he naturally had to come. One must know that the ferocious devils in the depths of the cave weren't easy to deal with. The might of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao wasn't just for show. Jiyu Zhong used one of the 9 secrets, the 3 purities secret art, to kill this ferocious devil. A large part of the reason why he could kill this ferocious devil was because he caught it off guard. The ferocious devil didn't expect 3 Jiyu Chongs to attack it at the same time. How could this ferocious devil resist 3 Jiyu Chongs at the same time? After killing this ferocious devil, Jiyu Zhong heaved a sigh of relief. This ferocious devil was very strong, one of the few opponents he had encountered. At this time, the 3 figures disappeared, turning into 3 streams of energy that entered his body. Chapter 2581. There was definitely a terrifying demon guarding the eastern region. Otherwise, how could the Zhao and Dongfang clans of the primordial era allow such a demonic force to exist? The Zhao and Dongfang clans of the primordial era had once conquered the eastern region and even attacked its depths, but they still couldn't eradicate the demonic force. As a result, the eastern region was divided into 3 factions. In recent years, as the power of heavenly wrath continued to weaken and the world was about to change, the demons in the eastern region Devil Den began to become restless. Rumble! The demon cave trembled and surged with demonic chi. A demonic figure taller than a mountain appeared in the sky, alerting the powerful demons. Roar! A beast covered in dark demonic flames rushed out of the cave with a demon in black on its back. The beast had a dragon's head, a horse's body, and dragon scales. It was actually a Qilin. To be more precise, it was an incomparably powerful demon Qilin. In ancient times, Qilins were powerful enough to contend with the 4 spirits of heaven and earth, the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. They were even known as the 5 divine beasts. These divine beasts were generally regarded as auspicious beasts. However, a demonic Qilin wasn't an auspicious beast, but an incomparably terrifying demonic beast. At this time, Jiyu Zhong was already close to the Devil's Cave. He just happened to see the Devil Qilin rushing out of the Devil's Cave with a demon on its back. Monstrous demonic fire immediately swept out, and the void was incinerated by the demonic fire. The demonic flames burned towards Jiyu Zhong, but were repelled by the golden astral qi around him. Jiyu Zhong wasn't afraid of the demonic flames. 9 golden Dao patterns appeared on his golden astral qi, activating the power of the great Dao. It could be said that he was invincible. Moreover, he cultivated the 9 secrets of immortal Dao. Even if he didn't use his astral qi to protect himself, the demonic flames wouldn't be able to harm him. "You killed one of my subordinates." The demon riding the demon Qilin looked at Jiyu Zhong and said. His tone was very calm, as if he was talking about something that had nothing to do with him. "So what if I did?" Jiyu Zhong's expression became incomparably solemn. He couldn't help but narrow his eyes at the demon. He sensed an extremely dangerous aura from the demon. "Then you deserve to die." The demon was very direct. He rode on the demon Qilin and rushed towards Jiyu Zhong. Jiyu Zhong sneered and slammed his right palm forward. He directly unleashed the heaven-covering palm. A huge golden hand appeared and instantly enveloped the entire world. The demonic fire that was emanating from the demon Qilin's body continuously dissipated under the envelopment of the huge hand. At that moment, the demon riding on the demon Qilin made his move. However, any living being that could see through his indestructible battle physique must have an incredible background. The Black Lotus demon ancestor, Jiyu Fei, came to Jiyu Zhong's side and stared at the demon riding on the demon Qilin. His expression was incomparably grave. Interesting. The demon didn't answer Jiyu Fei. He merely sized up Jiyu Fei's indestructible battle physique. Demonic runes flickered in the depths of his blood-red eyes. "Go back first." At this moment, Jiyu Fei suddenly said to Jiyu Zhong. "Master," Jiyu Zhong wanted to say something. However, Jiyu Fei interrupted him. "Go back." Jiyu Fei's tone turned solemn. "Yes." Jiyu Zhong hesitated for a moment before turning around and leaving the demonic realm. Boom. At that moment, a loud noise came from the void in the distance. The void shattered and 2 powerful figures broke through the void and attacked. A divine bird flapped its wings. Monstrous divine phoenix true fire surged out and covered the sky. The blood-hair demon immediately retreated. The 2 experts that came out from the void pearl pumpkin were the Iron Blood Daoist and the blood-hair demon. "Master," the Iron Blood Daoist quickly flew towards Jiyu Fei when he saw Jiyu Fei and came to Jiyu Fei's side. "You should leave too." Jiyu Fei glanced at the Iron Blood Daoist and said. This. Chapter 2582. In ancient times, Qilin was a powerful existence that could fight against the 4 spirits of heaven and earth. A demonic Qilin was even more powerful and terrifying. The Iron Blood Daoist was shocked to the extreme by the fact that the demon used a demon Qilin as a mount. At this moment, the blood-haired demon who was fighting with the Iron Blood Daoist retreated to the back of the demon riding the demon Qilin. "Let's go back," the demon said to the blood-haired demon behind him. "Yes." The blood-haired demon did not say anything else. He nodded and retreated into the demonic qi, disappearing from the sight of Jiyu Fei and the Iron Blood Daoist. "Let's go," Jiyu Fei said to the Iron Blood Daoist. "Master," the Iron Blood Daoist was a little hesitant. However, he could tell that the demon riding the demon Qilin was not simple. The demon Qilin that the demon was riding was already an extremely terrifying existence. "You won't be of much help even if you stay here." Jiyu Fei glanced at the Iron Blood Daoist and said. "Yes." The Iron Blood Daoist had no choice but to leave. The demon riding the demon Qilin did not stop him and directly let the Iron Blood Daoist retreat. He was very confident and there was a bloody light flashing in his eyes. Roar! The demon Chelene under the demon roared. The deep sound caused the surrounding void to tremble. Dark demonic flames danced on the demon Chelene's body. All right, let's begin. The demon on the demon Chelene calmly looked at Ji Yufei, who was opposite him. There was no expression on his pale face. Kill. Ji Yufei did not hesitate. He directly punched the demon riding the demon Chelene. It was a very ordinary punch, but when he punched, a strange sound resonated in the void. With just one punch, Ji Yufei attracted the spiritual qi from all directions. The spiritual qi frantically gathered towards his fist, causing the power of his punch to multiply. Ji Yufei's punch seemed to bring along the entire world as it smashed towards the demon riding the demon Chelene on the other side. Invincible fist intent. Seeing Ji Yufei unleash such a punch, the demonic person on the devil Chelene couldn't help feeling surprised. Ji Yufei's battle experience was truly rich. This kind of invincible will could only be gradually formed by warriors who had gone through countless battles. At this moment, the demonic person suspected to be the Black Lotus demon ancestor extended a finger and pointed forward. His finger directly touched Ji Yufei's incoming fist. This, Ji Yufei felt an extremely powerful force coming from the other party's finger. His punch was actually blocked by the other party's finger. Bang! Just as Ji Yufei was in shock, the finger on his fist trembled slightly. Ji Yufei immediately felt as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain and was sent flying. Ji Yufei was extremely shocked. He no longer had any doubts. The other party was definitely a demon ancestor. However, the battle prowess of this demon ancestor didn't seem to be that heaven-defying or monstrous. Even so, the battle prowess of this demon ancestor was enough to make Ji Yufei feel threatened. Rumble, the void trembled as a demonic hand appeared in the world, grabbing at Ji Yufei who was sent flying. The demonic hand emitted an extremely powerful ripple of demonic energy. Without any hesitation, Ji Yufei used the secret word of Wu right away. A hazy immortal light spread out and the demonic hand was immediately enveloped by the hazy immortal light. Without any suspense, the demonic hand was disintegrated by the power of the secret word of Wu and dissipated into the void. This is, when the Black Lotus demon ancestor saw this, he couldn't help but feel shocked. He recognized the supreme secret skill of the immortal path that Ji Yufei had used. To think that you've actually obtained 2 legacies. The Black Lotus demon ancestor found it a little unbelievable. Wasn't this fella a martial artist? Why did he cultivate a supreme technique of the immortal path? One must know that legacies of the immortal path and legacies of the martial path were 2 completely different legacies. Cut the crap. At this moment, Ji Yufei struck out at the demon ancestor riding on the fire Chelene. A hazy immortal light surged towards the demon ancestor immediately. This immortal light was enough to turn everything in the world into nothingness. Even the Black Lotus demon ancestor couldn't help but be moved. The 9 secrets of the immortal path created by the supreme Tao ancestor possessed immense might. This was especially so for the secret word of Wu, which possessed heaven-defying might. The demon Chelene roared and instantly retreated with the demon ancestor on its back, dodging the hazy immortal light. The void that was enveloped by the hazy immortal light was destroyed silently. At the sight of this, the Black Lotus demon ancestor couldn't help but change his expression. Could the secret word of Wu be able to destroy even the heavens and earth? At this moment, a black lotus appeared at the center of the Black Lotus demon ancestor's brows, emitting a terrifying demonic aura as though it could burst out at any moment. To think that you've gathered the legacies of both the martial path and the immortal path. That's truly shocking. The Black Lotus demon ancestor suddenly laughed. His cultivation state was damaged, and he had been slumbering in the demon's cave for countless years. However, he had yet to recover, and it was hard for him to unleash the true might of the demon ancestor. Otherwise, Ji Yufei wouldn't be a match for the Black Lotus demon ancestor at all. One must know that at his peak, the demon ancestor was an unparalleled existence that could even fight against the Supremes. Ji Yufei didn't bother wasting his breath on this demon ancestor. He deployed the 9 secrets of the immortal path and attacked the Black Lotus demon ancestor. Churning the Heaven Ascension secret art, his battle prowess skyrocketed. Boom! Ji Fei punched out with his fist, causing the void before his fist to shatter and turn into primal chaos. That single punch tore through the world, sending the Black Lotus demon ancestor who was riding the demon Chelene into the primal chaos. Roar! The roar of the demon Chelene rang out from within the primal chaos. After that, the primal chaos trembled violently, and a demonic beast carrying the Black Lotus demon ancestor dashed out of the primal chaos. A black lotus flew out from the center of the Black Lotus demon ancestor's brows. Sheeing. The Black Lotus trembled as a supreme power of the demonic path spread out from the Black Lotus, instantly freezing the entire void. Ji Fei felt his body sinking down, as though he was being crushed by a gigantic mountain. His movements became sluggish immediately. "Break for me!" Ji Fei roared out as an extremely formidable power rippled out from his body, wanting to push away the power of the demonic path that was pressing down on him. But just at that moment, a fist landed on Ji Fei's chest. Bam! The power of that fist was extraordinarily strong. Amidst the dull sound of impact, Ji Fei's chest caved in as he was sent flying once more. How could this be? Chapter 2583. Ji Fei was sent flying by the Black Lotus evil ancestor's punch. This shocked him to the extreme. The Black Lotus evil ancestor was actually this powerful. It was beyond his expectations. He stabilized his body and looked down. He saw a fist mark on his chest. This fist mark had sunk deep into his body and almost pierced through him. The fist mark was imbued with demonic power. Ji Fei couldn't even repair his battle physique even if he wanted to. Roar! Ji Fei roared. He used the Wu secret art with all his strength to dissolve the demonic power that was imbued on his body. The demonic power was gradually dissolved. The indestructible battle physique was repairing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The martial ancestor's Wu secret art is really amazing. When the Black Lotus demon ancestor, who was riding on the demon Chelene, saw what happened to Ji Fei, a strange look flashed across his blood-red eyes. In the distant past, he had once possessed a supreme cultivation that could contend against supremes. But now, the Black Lotus demonic ancestor had nearly died after experiencing that huge commotion back then. Even though he had survived the calamity, his cultivation was nearly crippled. The Black Lotus evil ancestor had been sleeping in the depths of the Devil's Cave for countless years. He only gradually woke up in the recent 100 years, but his cultivation still hadn't recovered to its peak. Otherwise, the Black Lotus evil ancestor could easily destroy Ji Fei's indestructible battle physique. A combat tool of this level was nothing to a supreme existence like the evil ancestor. Even the current Black Lotus evil ancestor wouldn't find it difficult to destroy the indestructible battle physique. Rumble. The sound of wind and thunder came from Ji Fei's indestructible battle physique. There was a faint divine sound of the great Tao coming from his body. Rays of golden light circled around him like lightning. No matter how powerful you are just a combat tool. The Black Lotus evil ancestor's voice came. He rode the demon Chelene and approached Ji Fei unhurriedly. Is that so? Ji Fei stared at the approaching Black Lotus evil ancestor. His eyes couldn't help but narrow. This evil ancestor was very strong. He felt like he was facing Ghost Emperor Fengju and that ruthless person Jibei. Come. The Black Lotus demon ancestor extended his hand and grabbed at Ji Fei. A heaven-devouring force gushed out from his palm and instantly enveloped Ji Fei, sucking him in. What? Ji Fei was shocked. The suction force that enveloped him was extremely powerful. He quickly used the 9 esoteric secrets of the immortal Tao. The power of heaven ascension burst forth. At the same time, the esoteric word none was also madly circulating. With the 2 great secret techniques executed at the same time, Ji Fei finally broke through the suction force and rushed out. The 9 secrets of the immortal Tao is not bad. The Black Lotus devil ancestor could not help but nod to himself. This kind of supreme secret technique was indeed unique. This is bad. At this time, Ji Fei was groaning in his heart. This Black Lotus devil ancestor was not someone he could deal with. The other party was definitely stronger than him. It would not be difficult for the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor to kill him. Although the 9 esoteric secrets of the immortal Tao were known as undefeatable arts, the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor's cultivation and battle prowess were much stronger than Jiu Fei's. Even if Jiu Fei cultivated this secret technique, he would not be a match for the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor. One must know that even the 9 esoteric secrets of the immortal Tao were nothing in the face of absolute power. Swish. Jiu Fei did not think too much about it. If he couldn't win, he would run. He directly used the anti-void secret technique and instantly melded into the void, wanting to escape. The Black Lotus Devil Ancestor sneered as a black lotus rushed out from his forehead. Buzz. The Black Lotus trembled as the supreme power of the demonic Tao spread out in all directions. The void trembled as a figure fell from the sky. What? Jiu Fei's shock was no small matter. The opponent had once again seen through his 9 esoteric secrets of the immortal Tao. The Black Lotus great technique of the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor displayed an unfathomable demonic might. This was the greatest danger Jiu Fei had ever faced since he started cultivating. Moreover, he did not have an extreme saint artifact on him. If he had an extreme saint artifact, he would still be confident. But now, that was no longer the case. Trying to escape. The Black Lotus Devil Ancestor rode the demon Chelene and chased after Jiu Fei unhurriedly. Jiu Fei was both shocked and enraged. He knew very well that there was a huge gap between his indestructible battle body and the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor. Unless his true body wielded an extreme saint artifact, he might not be able to fight this demon. Roar. Just at this moment, the demon Chelene beneath the Black Lotus demonic ancestor roared furiously. It opened its mouth and spat out a demon bead at Jiu Fei. This was a demon bead that emitted dark demon flames. It contained demonic patterns and displayed a great demonic might. The moment the demon bead appeared, it was as if a demonic sun had appeared in the sky, causing the entire world to tremble. This, Jiu Fei was incomparably shocked. Even the demon Chelene under the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor was so powerful. This was truly unbelievable. This demon Chelene was definitely a demon sovereign level existence. Bam! The demonic bead emitted a mighty demonic power, which directly sent Jiu Fei flying. Damn it! Even a mount was a demon sovereign level existence. This made Jiu Fei feel a sense of helplessness. He turned to leave. Such an existence was impossible to contend against. He displayed his extreme speed of 8 steps, so fast that his shadow could not be seen. He wanted to rush out of the demonic domain and leave this place. However, the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor did not want to let Jiu Fei go. One must know that he was also very interested in the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao. Do you think you can escape from my 5 Fingers Mountain? The Black Lotus Devil Ancestor said as he reached out with his right hand. His right hand instantly expanded infinitely, enveloping the entire world and sucking in Jiu Fei. Under the envelopment of the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor's hand, Jiu Fei was as small as an invisible speck of dust in the world. Rumble. The void trembled as the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor displayed his great mystique. His hand closed and was about to grab Jiu Fei. Bam! At this moment, a divine light pierced through from afar, breaking through the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor's hand and opening up a path for Jiu Fei. Jiu Fei did not hesitate and charged out from the place that was broken by the divine light. Following that, a figure appeared in the sky above the demonic domain, coldly looking down at the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor who was riding on the demon Chelene. At this time, the demon Chelene had already retracted the demon bead. The Black Lotus Devil Ancestor also retracted his hand. He looked down and saw a bloody hole in his palm. As he willed it, the bloody hole in his right palm immediately disappeared. Ghost Emperor? When Jiu Fei saw the person who saved him, he was shocked and overjoyed. This person was the white-robed Ghost Emperor from Fengju's Ghost City. Old Devil Black Lotus, do you want to start a war now? Ghost Emperor Fengju looked at the Black Lotus Devil Ancestor and said proudly. Even when facing a Devil Ancestor, he had no qualms. It's you. You actually survived. Chapter 2584. White-robed Ghost Emperor had arrived and descended upon the Eastern Devil Domain. Black Lotus Ancestor didn't dare to act recklessly. You actually managed to survive that battle. Seeing Ghost Emperor Fengdu, the Black Lotus demonic ancestor was both shocked and surprised. Back then, the great calamity that swept through the 3 realms and 6 Daos caused countless creatures to die. Even existences on the level of the demonic ancestor found it difficult to survive the great calamity. "Mph, didn't you survive too?" Ghost Emperor Fengdu looked at Black Lotus ancestor who was riding the demon Chelin. He didn't emit any aura. However, in the eyes of Black Lotus ancestor, Ghost Emperor Fengdu was the most dangerous. This was a terrifying existence that could contend against him. Back then, Black Lotus ancestor and Ghost Emperor Fengdu were mortal enemies. Even after countless years, the relationship between them hadn't changed. "I'm definitely going to kill this little fella. You have to protect him." Black Lotus ancestor looked at Ji Yufei who was standing behind Ghost Emperor Fengdu and said coldly. In his blood-red eyes, demonic runes could be vaguely seen interweaving. "I'm definitely going to protect this little fella. What can you do to me?" Ghost Emperor Fengdu was very domineering as he said such words. "Preposterous. Let's fight then." Black Lotus ancestor was enraged. "The consequences would be dire. Let's fight then. Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Ghost Emperor Fengdu took a step forward. It seemed like a casual fight, but the entire heaven and earth felt like it was going to collapse, giving off an incomparably stifling feeling. Roar. At this moment, the demon Chelin under Black Lotus ancestor roared furiously. It carried Black Lotus ancestor and soared into the sky, arriving in front of Ghost Emperor Fengdu. Ji Yufei hurriedly retreated. He was also looking forward to a battle of this level. Boom. Ghost Emperor Fengdu moved. He directly shattered the void of heaven and earth and fought with Black Lotus Devil ancestor into the depths of the shattered primal chaos void. This, Ji Yufei couldn't help but be dumbfounded when he saw this. He circulated his divine eye, wanting to peer into the depths of the primal chaos. However, there was a supreme Tao law shrouding that even he couldn't see through. At this time, the depths of the primal chaos were boiling. A terrifying aura surged out. Ghost Emperor Fengdu and the Black Lotus Devil ancestor were fighting. If existences of this level fought in the outside world, they would produce unimaginable destructive power. If they wanted to fight, they wouldn't choose to fight in the outside world. What a pity. Ji Yufei was somewhat disappointed. It should be known that if he could watch a battle of this level, it would be very beneficial to him. He would be able to observe the Tao laws of Holy Venerables and above. This battle did not last long. 2 figures so powerful that even the sky trembled rushed out from the depths of the primal chaos and returned to the outside world. This, Ji Yufei was extremely shocked. He saw that one of the right sleeves of the white-robed Ghost Emperor was missing. The crown on his head was crooked, and his hair was a little messy. As for the Black Lotus demon ancestor, he was in a worse state than the white-robed Ghost Emperor. One of the horns of the demon Chelin he was riding was broken, and there was demonic blood seeping out of the Black Lotus demon ancestor's forehead. "Old fiend Black Lotus, you don't seem to be able to hold on," the white-robed Ghost Emperor teased. The Black Lotus demon ancestor's expression turned extremely unsightly. After that, he didn't say anything and directly rode away on the demon Chelin, disappearing into the dusky world. The white-robed Ghost Emperor did not stop him. After the Black Lotus demon ancestor left, he glanced at Ji Yufei and waved his left hand at Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei immediately felt the world spinning. After that, he discovered to his shock that he had actually appeared in the sky above the Eastern Imperial Kingdom. Such a method, Ji Yufei was incomparably shocked. The white-robed Ghost Emperor was truly strong to an unimaginable extent. He actually sent Ji Yufei back to the Eastern Imperial Kingdom with a wave of his hand. The white-robed Ghost Emperor did not appear again. At this time, the Eastern region Devil Cave had also calmed down. The commotion caused by Ji Yuzhong's intrusion had finally passed. Many cultivators were incomparably shocked. Someone actually dared to intrude the Devil Cave. One had to know that there was an unimaginably terrifying demon presiding over the Devil Cave. Human cultivators would definitely die if they intruded. However, Gu Fei and his disciple, as well as the Iron-blood Daoist, were able to escape unscathed from the devil domain. Moreover, they even killed an incomparably powerful demon. With Heavenly Emperor Ziyang presiding over the Eastern Imperial Kingdom, none of the cultivators in the city dared to act rashly. The people of the Dongfang clan also went into hiding, not daring to show themselves easily. The cultivation forces that had relations with the Dongfang clan all came out to cut off all ties with the Dongfang clan, expressing their sincerity towards Gu Fei and his disciple. Gu Fei and his disciple did not care about these matters. They knew that these cultivation forces were fence-sitters. They would only side with whoever was stronger. Time passed. Several days passed in a row. The demons in the devil domain had already settled down. There were no more demon experts who brought their subordinates to fight for the human race's territory. Meanwhile, the formation platform in the Eastern Imperial Kingdom's City Lord's mansion was activated again. This time, a large number of overseas experts came to the Eastern Imperial Kingdom through the teleportation formation. For a moment, the Eastern Imperial Kingdom's City Lord's mansion was indeed overcrowded. Under the command of the Iron-blood Daoist, the overseas forces gradually took over the properties that originally belonged to the Dongfang clan in the Eastern Imperial Kingdom. With the Eastern Imperial Kingdom as the center, the overseas forces began to gradually take over the properties that originally belonged to the Dongfang clan. All the forces were watching, and no one came out to interfere. With the East Imperial Kingdom as the center, the overseas forces began to take over the territories that belonged to the Dongfang clan step by step. All the forces were watching, and no one came out to interfere. However, there really were people who dared to provoke them. Just as the overseas forces were taking over a city, they started to fight with an expert in the city. This person was not an expert from the Eastern Domain, but a big bald man from the Western Domain. In the mountain ridge outside the city, Zhu Guliang was fighting with a sloppy monk. The terrifying shockwaves caused the entire mountain ridge to tremble, and all the birds and beasts in the mountains were scared away. Damned Baldy, you should feel lucky that we're not going to settle the score with you. How dare you come here to cause trouble? You really don't know what's good for you. On top of a mountain peak, Zhu Guliang stood at the top of the mountain, looking at the figure on the opposite mountain peak and said coldly, "Ha ha." The sloppy monk on the opposite mountain peak burst out laughing. He took out a gourd from his waist, uncorked it, and gulped down a huge mouthful of wine. "I, wine monk, can go wherever I want to go. Even the Buddha can't control me," the sloppy monk said. "Is that so?" Zhu Guliang laughed. This guy was really interesting. If he wasn't someone from the Western Domain's Buddhist sect, they might have become friends. "Not bad, kid. Come on, let me see what you've got," the sloppy monk said to Zhu Guliang. Chapter 2585. The sloppy monk was an oddity in West Earth Buddhism. He was a monk who drank and ate meat, disregarding the rules of Buddhism. However, this sloppy monk's cultivation base was so strong that even Heavenly Monk Dharma of West Earth's Buddhist sect turned a blind eye to him. Back then, a demon appeared in the Buddhist land, and this sloppy monk contributed greatly. Although he didn't subdue the demon, he minimized the damage the demon caused to the Buddhist land. The demon in the Buddhist land was extremely powerful and was still a hidden danger to West Earth Buddhism. Swoosh. At this moment, Zhu Guliang made his move. He waved the feather fan in his hand towards the sloppy monk on the opposite mountain peak. A five-colored divine flame immediately rushed out from the feather fan, burning towards the opposite mountain peak. Divine fire of 5 elements. Seeing this, the sloppy monk immediately stopped smiling and his expression turned solemn. One must know that there were runes faintly visible within the 5-colored divine flame. Although Zhu Guliang hadn't become a saint, he was a true quasi-saint. He was only half a step away from breaking through the shackles of heaven and earth and becoming a saint. Apart from the Iron-blood Daoist, Zhu Guliang could be said to be the strongest existence among the 13 bandits. His divine ability of the 5 elements was incomparably powerful. The divine fire fan in Zhu Guliang's hand was his natal divine weapon. It contained the flames of the Tao. As long as the 5-colored divine flame burned one's body, Even a quasi-saint existence would be burned to ashes. Collect. At this moment, the sloppy monk on the opposite mountain peak suddenly turned the wine gourd in his hand upside down. He pointed the mouth of the gourd at the five-colored divine flame and slapped the bottom of the gourd. A golden Buddhist light rushed out from the wine gourd. A swastika appeared at the mouth of the gourd, turning into a golden vortex that devoured the five-colored divine flame. Rumble, the space in front of the gourd trembled, and pitch-black spatial cracks appeared. The divine fire of five elements was sucked into the gourd by the heaven-devouring power that surged out of the gourd. I didn't expect your wine gourd to be a treasure as well, Zhu Guliang said. The divine ability of Buddhism was not to be underestimated. One must know that the patriarch of this sect was the eternal Buddha Lord. The eternal Buddha Lord was a supreme existence comparable to the supreme Tao ancestor. Buzz. That wine gourd was shaking, continuously devouring the five elements' divine flame. Shua. Seeing this, Zhu Guliang immediately soared into the sky and pounced towards the mountain on the ground. He stretched out his hand and drew in the most powerful metal elemental power. It turned into a huge golden hand and slammed towards the mountain on the opposite side. This was the mighty power of a demi-saint. The aura of the divine Tao was vast and mighty, and there were countless runes on the surface of the golden hand. Those were the Tao patterns of the five elements that Zhu Guliang had cultivated. Even though Zhu Guliang was a quasi-sage and was only half a step away from breaking through the restraints of heaven and earth to become a sage, he had yet to condense his 9 Tao patterns. The 9 runes were a transformation of the great Tao runes when one became a saint. Very few people were able to comprehend these runes before they became a saint. Most people would only be able to condense 9 saint-rank Tao patterns when they became saints. Only those geniuses would have the opportunity to condense the initial 9 Daoist patterns before becoming a saint. Of course, these initial 9 Daoist patterns weren't the true 9 Daoist patterns. Collect. The sloppy monk slammed the bottom of the gourd again, and an even more powerful devouring power erupted from the gourd. Boom. The entire void collapsed and was directly swallowed by the wine gourd. The wine gourd seemed to be able to devour the entire world. The huge golden hand that Zhu Guliang had struck out was directly swallowed by the unremarkable wine gourd in the sloppy monk's hand. What? Zhu Guliang couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this. At the same time, he felt his body tighten. He was actually wrapped up by the devouring power that swept out from the wine gourd. His entire body was involuntarily pulled towards the mouth of the gourd. Boom. Zhu Guliang's expression changed instantly. He no longer held back and directly used the great technique of the 5 elements. A 5-colored divine light immediately erupted from his body, and an extremely powerful wave of the 5 elements spread out. The mighty power of the 5 elements emanating from Zhu Guliang's body directly broke through the wine gourd in the sloppy monk's hand, and rushed out with the heaven-devouring force. At this time, in the distant sky, there was a middle-aged man in red armor. This person's body was filled with a mighty dragon aura, and there were faint red dragon shadows around him. This person was Kai Long. Kai Long had already become a saint, but he didn't make a move. He just watched the battle in front of him. He believed that Zhu Guliang could handle it, and that sloppy monk didn't dare to remove the seal on his body. Even if Zhu Guliang couldn't win, there was still him. Kai Long stared at the sloppy monk on the mountain top in front of him. This guy was not simple. He was actually a Saint Buddha. Although the sloppy monk hid very well, he couldn't deceive Kai Long's eyes. At this time, ever since Ji Yufei and his disciple caused havoc in the demon area, all the forces in the eastern region of the Tenglong continent looked at Ji Yufei and his disciple in a new light. They knew that they still underestimated Ji Yufei and his disciple. In fact, there were many geniuses in the eastern region, but now they were all in closed-door training. For example, the Zhao clan's goddess of the desolate ancient Zhao clan, the new eastern emperor of the Dongfang clan, and the young lord of the demons in the depths of the demon cave. These people hadn't come into being yet. Everyone was looking forward to it. Rumble, the heaven and earth shook. The battle strength displayed by Zhu Guliang shook the heaven and earth. The power of a quasi-saint spread in all directions, forcing the sloppy monk to take it seriously. You're not bad. Come back to the west with me. the sloppy monk said as he put away his wine gourd. He stretched out his hand and displayed the supreme divine power of the Buddhist kingdom in the palm, wanting to take Zhu Galiang away. TSK, only a ghost would follow you to the west to be a monk. Zhu Galiang was really infuriated by this sloppy monk. However, once the sloppy monk became serious, it was incredible. The Buddha's hand covered the entire heaven and earth, emitting endless auspicious Buddhist light. He actually wanted to take Zhu Galiang away. This time, Zhu Galiang was really shocked. At this time, he could already see that this sloppy monk was actually a Saint Buddha. This made him secretly complain. It was really bad luck of 8 lifetimes to encounter this big baldy when he went out. Zhu Galiang resisted with all his might. Monstrous 5 elements power rushed out of his body, and the 5 elements divine fire fan emitted endless 5 elements Dao fire. However, all of this was useless. The difference in their cultivation levels was too great. Even if Zhu Galiang wanted to fight with the sloppy monk, it was impossible. The sloppy monk's Buddha's hand displayed a Buddhist land, grabbing at Zhu Galiang. It seemed that Zhu Galiang was about to be sucked into the Buddhist land. At this time, an earth-shattering dragon roar sounded. The entire heaven and earth became unstable, and a terrifying dragon might that made the heaven and earth lose color came from afar. This is Chapter 2586. The Red Dragon was Gu Fei's disciple and naturally cultivated the 9 secrets of the immortal path. He hid nearby with the anti-void secret technique, and even someone like the sloppy monk did not notice him. Roar. The dragon's roar shook the sky, and a terrifying shockwave spread out. The sloppy monk's golden Buddha hand trembled immediately. This was the sound-killing technique, known as the Azure Dragon's Roar. When this technique was cultivated to the great accomplishment realm, a dragon's roar could shatter the heavens and earth. It was extremely terrifying. Although the red dragon was already a holy dragon, he had yet to unleash the full power of this technique. Even so, his roar still shook the sloppy monk's mind. At the same time, Zhu Galiang took the opportunity to attack with all his strength, breaking through the layers of Buddhist light and rushing out from under the golden Buddha hand. At this moment, a huge dragon covered in divine flames directly broke through the clouds and charged over from the distance. An extremely powerful draconic might filled the world. A holy dragon. The sloppy monk was extremely shocked when he saw the dragon. One should know that the dragon clan in the human realm was basically extinct. Only in the celestial realm could they be found. The dragon disappeared, and a figure walked out of the flames. Taking you back to be a mount seems like a good idea. The sloppy monk's eyes lit up, and he attacked the red dragon. The golden hand did not disappear, but turned and grabbed at the red dragon. Rumble. A Buddhist land appeared in the palm of the golden Buddha hand. It was as if a golden world had appeared there, exuding an extremely auspicious aura. Buddhist land in the palm? The red dragon extended his hand, and a dragon claw rushed out immediately. The dragon claw emitted true dragon divine fire, burning the void and destroying it silently. Boom! With a loud sound, the dragon claw and the Buddha hand collided. The power of the true dragon and the power of Buddha exploded, and the dragon-shaped runes and swastikas dissipated in the void. The dragon claw and the Buddha hand dissipated in the void at the same time. Then, 2 figures moved quickly, and terrifying waves of power kept erupting. The red dragon was a true holy dragon. The dragon clan had innate advantages that other creatures could not compare to. Dragons that could become holy dragons were definitely powerful and terrifying. However, that sloppy monk really was extremely strong, as if a Buddha Lord descended, displaying unmatched Buddhist methods and divine abilities, fighting a great battle against the Crimson Dragon. Who is that person? He is actually able to fight against the Crimson Dragon. In the sky above the city in the distance, there were many figures standing. The Buddhist sect's Big Baldy is quite capable. The 13 bandits were whispering to each other. At this time, they had already taken control of the entire city. In fact, apart from the sloppy monk, no one was a match for them. Big Baldy, hand over your life. The Crimson Dragon was Gu Fei's disciple. Just like his master, he was powerful beyond compare, pressing forward courageously as soon as he took action, wishing to defeat his opponent with thunderous methods. Boom! Endless true dragon power erupted from Red Dragon's body. He transformed into a fire dragon and pounced towards the sloppy monk. "Ha ha, watch how I subdue you." The sloppy monk laughed heartily as he took off the wine gourd at his waist. Then, he patted the bottom of the gourd, and a ball of Buddhist light immediately rushed out of the wine gourd. Buzz! The entire world trembled. The sloppy monk used all his power to activate the Buddhist treasure in his hand, wanting to put the crimson dragon into the wine gourd. The wine gourd displayed terrifying power. Master Void collapsed and was devoured by the mouth of the gourd. The crimson dragon was enveloped by the devouring power from the wine gourd and flew toward the wine gourd. Just at this moment, the crimson dragon opened its mouth and spat out a bead. This was the life dragon bead that Red Dragon had cultivated. He didn't hold back and used his most powerful means. The moment the dragon bead appeared, it was as if a sun had appeared in the world. The temperature of the world rose rapidly and the powerful true dragon power erupted from the dragon bead. Rumble! The true dragon power erupted and the devouring power from the wine gourd was immediately blocked. The wine gourd trembled violently and almost flew out of the sloppy monk's hand. Good fellow! The sloppy monk was extremely shocked. He didn't expect Red Dragon to go all out so soon. It has to be said that the dragon bead was Red Dragon's life treasure. If anything happened to it, Red Dragon would be greatly injured and might even die. The dragon bead smashed toward the sloppy monk. It was like a sun descending from the heavens, displaying a terrifying power. Even the sloppy monk couldn't help but be shocked. Whoosh! The sloppy monk transformed into a beam of Buddhist light and soared into the sky, evading the attack. The power of heaven's wrath was still there, so no one dared to release the seal on their bodies. Under these circumstances, both the sloppy monk and Red Dragon were greatly restricted and could not display their true power. At this moment, Red Dragon's aura increased like crazy once more. He used one of the 9 celestial secrets, the Heaven Ascension secret spell. Waves of true dragon power erupted from the giant fire dragon's body and sword. 9 dragon-shaped Tao patterns rushed out of his body and circled around him. What? Sensing Red Dragon's aura rising, the sloppy monk was shocked. Red Dragon's power seemed to be endless and could still be increased. "Little fellow, I have something to do and will leave first. I'll play with you again next time." The sloppy monk put away the wine gourd in his hand and turned into a ray of Buddhist light, disappearing into the horizon. That big baldy, Red Dragon wanted to chase, but Red Dragon's golden light escape art was too fast. When he came back to his senses, Red Dragon was already far away. Moreover, Red Dragon was a dragon, not a warrior. It was difficult for him to cultivate Gu Fei's desolate steppes. Roar! Red Dragon roared at the sky. Red Dragon was too despicable. He had just used the Heaven Ascension secret spell and had yet to attack, but Red Dragon had already fled. The terrifying dragon roar shook the world. Even the 13 bandits in the distance were shaken by the roar, and their blood and energy were in turmoil. With the sloppy monk's departure, there was no one left to stop Red Dragon's group. The entire region was taken over by Red Dragon's group. In other regions, when Gu Fei's group took over the Dongfang clan's territory, they were met with resistance. However, these small fries couldn't do anything. At this time, the upper echelons of the Dongfang clan were still very calm. They were waiting for their ancestor to wake up from the Chaos Cavern. Chapter 2587. In the depths of the Dongfang family's ancestral grounds, a Chaos Cavern breathed in and out chaotic energy. A stone coffin floated within the energy. Outside the Chaos Cavern, the upper echelons of the Dongfang family waited anxiously. They'd been waiting for more than a month. The stone coffin in the depths of the Chaos Cavern was beginning to show signs of life. The ancestor is finally waking up from his slumber. The 2 elders of the Dongfang family sat cross-legged on a spiritual peak near the Chaos Cavern. Their eyes opened and closed from time to time, emitting a bright light. The current head of the Dongfang family, Dongfang Chen, was also waiting in a nearby valley. He knew that the Dongfang family's territory was being taken over by Gu Fei. However, there was nothing he could do. He could only watch helplessly as the Dongfang family's territory continued to be taken over. Jiu Fei and his disciple were very powerful. Even the people of the Primeval Path couldn't do anything to them. They'd even killed their way into the realm of demons, and the demons among the demons couldn't do anything to them. The master and disciple were too powerful. In the entire eastern region, even the primordial Zhao family didn't dare to provoke them. It seemed that only the ancestor could deal with the master and disciple after waking up from his slumber. Although Dongfang Chen wasn't willing to give up, he could only endure at this time. How much longer do I have to endure these stifling days? Dongfang Chen stood on top of a pavilion in the valley, looking in the direction of the Chaos Cavern. He muttered to himself. Primal chaos energy swirled high up in the sky. The ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family were a land of ascension. The ancestral veins of the earth gathered beneath it. Cultivating in this divine land would yield twice the results with half the effort. It was also because of the existence of this ancestral ground that the Dongfang family had been able to survive for countless years and still stand tall in the eastern region of the Tenglong continent. At this time, a young man sat cross-legged on the peak of Kunlun. 8 trigrams emerged from his body, each emitting a heart-palpitating aura of the great Tao. This young man was Li Lingfeng. Li Lingfeng had returned to Kunlun. He'd sent the divine servant back to the planet because the divine servant was already on the verge of death. He'd suffered unimaginable damage during the great calamity all those years ago. The divine servant survived, and when he was searching for the successor of the ancestral god in various ancestral planets, he saved Li Lingfeng, who was fleeing from the Dongfang family. Li Lingfeng had cultivated a fragment of the divine path that was spread in the Tenglong continent. This was fate. The divine servant took Li Lingfeng away and taught him the true ancestral god's divine ability. The god servant was about to pass away. Not long after Li Lingfeng and the god servant returned, the god servant perished. Li Lingfeng buried the god servant in front of a cave where the ancestor god had once cultivated. However, Li Lingfeng didn't leave just like that. He was looking for an ancestral god weapon, an extreme Dao divine weapon refined by an ancestral god. The god servant was a super old-timer who had once followed the ancestor god. Before he died, he had told Li Lingfeng that the ancestor god weapon was in the Kunlun Mountains. Whether he could obtain an ancestral divine weapon or not would depend on Li Lingfeng's luck. Li Lingfeng sat cross-legged at the peak of Kunlun. He circulated the ancestor god's divine ability and sensed the world around him. Kunlun was one of the ancestral mountains on the ancestral planet. It was also the place where all the ancestral veins converged. All the dragon veins on the Kunlun ancestral planet originated from here. However, the number of cultivators on the ancestral planet was pitifully small. There weren't any particularly powerful existences. It could be said that the cultivation world on the ancestral planet had completely declined. In the entire Kunlun ancestral planet, only the area where the Kunlun ancestral mountain was located was suitable for cultivation. The spiritual energy in the outside world was very thin, making it unsuitable for cultivation. Rumble. Gradually, Li Lingfeng resonated with the surrounding void. The aura of the great Tao on his body seemed to fuse with the aura of the Kunlun ancestral mountain. Every time this happened, he would sense a special aura. His intuition told him that it was the aura of the ancestral god weapon left behind by the ancestor god. However, every time Li Lingfeng wanted to lock onto that aura would vanish without a trace, without the slightest sign, and he couldn't sense its existence any longer. Obtaining an ancestral god weapon really isn't an easy task. Li Lingfeng didn't give up. He continued to work hard. If he could obtain an ancestral god weapon, he would be able to kill his way back to the Tenglong continent. He knew the secret of traveling between the 5 ancestral planets. This secret was told to him by the divine servant. After the divine servant died, he was the only one in the human realm who knew about this secret. I must obtain an ancestral god weapon. Li Lingfeng continued to circulate the ancestral god technique to comprehend Kunlun and search for an ancestral god weapon. Just as Li Lingfeng was searching for an ancestral god weapon in the ancestral planet, in the Buddhist kingdom of the West Earth of the Soaring Dragon ancestral planet, a surge of demonic aura appeared in the peaceful Buddhist land. A melodious bell rang out from the spiritual mountain. The Buddhist Vedanta on the spiritual mountain were alarmed. The invasion of the Buddha demon made all the Buddhist experts on the spiritual mountain extremely nervous. There was no doubt that the Buddha demon was powerful. Monstrous demonic aura enveloped half of the heaven and earth. Terrifying demonic might surged out from the rolling demonic aura. An old monk wearing a kasaya appeared on the peak of the spiritual mountain. Looking at the rolling demonic aura, the old monk was unusually calm. "Heavenly Dharma, it's you again." A cold voice came from the demonic aura. A terrifying demonic shadow appeared in the demonic aura. Two blood-red eyes swept out from the demonic aura. "Demon, leave quickly. Otherwise, this old monk will release you from purgatory." Monk Heavenly Dharma stared at the demonic figure in the middle of the demonic energy. Buddhist runes appeared in his eyes, and his entire body shone with Buddhist light. However, the kasaya he wore seemed to be an ordinary kasaya, and it was covered in stains. "Haha, you want to release me from purgatory? Dream on. If you can release me from purgatory, I would have already been released by you." The Buddha demon laughed loudly. At this time, all the bald monks on the spiritual mountain were shocked. Those with weaker cultivation were even more terrified. They kept chanting Buddhist scriptures to dispel the fear in their hearts. Without saying much, the Buddha demon and Heavenly Dharma started fighting. Terrifying waves spread across the entire Buddhist land. In the end, the Buddha demon retreated. Heavenly Dharma heaved a sigh of relief. He really couldn't do anything to this ferocious demon. Because of this, he had no choice but to stay on the spiritual mountain. Otherwise, no one would be able to fight against this demon. The Devil Land was threatened by the Buddha demon. This made it hard for Heavenly Dharma to leave the eastern domain of the Buddhist land to find Jiyu Fei and his disciple. One had to know that Jiyu Fei and his disciple had almost destroyed the sacred place of West Earth's Buddhism, Mount Ling, and they had formed a great enmity with West Earth's Buddhism. "Jiyu Fei, I'll let you roam freely for a period of time. I'll find you when the time comes." Chapter 2588. Heavenly Fa had fought against Jiyu Fei in the past, so he knew how powerful Jiyu Fei was. However, he couldn't leave West Earth for the time being and go to the eastern region. As long as the threat of the Buddhist demon was not eliminated, he couldn't leave Spirited Mountain. Those two evil creatures, there used to be two protectors on Spirited Mountain, but when the chaotic world appeared, they left the mountain and entered the chaotic world. Since then, they disappeared and never returned to Spirited Mountain. Of course, old monk Fa Tien knew what had happened. The two evil creatures must have dissolved the Buddhist seals on their bodies and freed themselves from the shackles of Buddhism, regaining their freedom. Those two existences were probably a threat to the Buddhist sect. After all, those two evil creatures weren't willing to be controlled by the Buddhist sect. Changes are coming. The 3 worlds and 6 Taos are about to change. Heavenly Fa sighed and closed his eyes. He didn't say anything else. After the Buddhist demon retreated, West Earth's Spirited Mountain gradually calmed down. However, the chanting of sutras could still be heard from time to time. A peaceful atmosphere once again enveloped the entire mountain. At this time, the most nervous ones were the Beitang clan. After all, Jiyu Fei and the Beitang clan had a huge grudge. Jiyu Fei's return shocked the higher-ups of the Beitang clan to the extreme. Many regretted what they did in the past, but it was too late for regrets now. The Beitang clan was ready to leave Tenglong continent. They weren't an ancient desolate faction, so they didn't have the ability to fight against Jiyu Fei. If they didn't want to be exterminated, they could only take advantage of Jiyu Fei dealing with the Dongfang clan to escape from the Tenglong continent or even the ancestral Dragon Star. Just as the Beitang clan was about to leave, the Dongfang clan welcomed an opportunity. Rumble, the chaos cavern began to shake, and the stone coffin floating in the depths of the cavern began to emit an extremely powerful aura of life, as if an ancient dragon was lurking in the stone coffin. Ancestor is finally coming back to life. On a faraway spiritual peak, 2 eminent elders stood up. Even though they had lived for countless years, they were still extremely excited at this time. There was a special aura lingering in the primal chaos cave. It was an aura that was enough to intimidate heavenly venerables. Although it wasn't very strong, It gave off a suffocating feeling. The invincible ancestor is about to reappear in the world. Ji Yu Fei, your end is near. A figure appeared in the sky above a valley. This person was the current head of the Dongfang family, Dongfang Chen. At this moment, everyone in the Dongfang family's ancestral grounds could sense the extraordinary aura and knew that something big was about to happen. The primal chaos cavern was connected to the ancestral veins beneath the earth. Under the nourishment of primal chaos ancestral energy, the stone coffin became extraordinary even though it was made of ordinary stone. The ancestor of the Dongfang family had been in slumber for countless years, automatically breathing in and out primal chaos ancestral qi day and night. No one knew how powerful he had become. After all, the ancestor of the Dongfang family has not appeared in the world for a very long time. It had been so long that the people of the past had forgotten about his existence. Boom, the stone coffin in the cave suddenly shook, as if something was about to rush out of the stone coffin. The two elders of the Dongfang family were extremely excited. However, the stone coffin only shook for a moment and then stopped moving. It seems that the ancestor still needs some time before he fully awakens, one of the elders said. He was a bit disappointed because once the ancestor came out, the Dongfang family's current predicament would be solved. They wouldn't have to hide in the ancestral grounds anymore. There's no rush. We have plenty of time. The great formation that protected the entire ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family was powered by the ancestral veins. Even if a Renhuang came, they wouldn't be able to break in a short time, let alone Ji Yu Fei. The Dongfang family's confidence was still there. Apart from the territories outside, they didn't lose much. Once the ancestor came out, they would be able to take back what belonged to the Dongfang family from Ji Yu Fei's hands. At this time, with the awakening of the ancestor, the morale of the entire Dongfang family was greatly boosted. This was a good thing for the Dongfang family, but not for Ji Yu Fei. The changes in the ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family couldn't be kept a secret. Heavenly Emperor Zi Yang rushed over from the Eastern Imperial City as soon as possible. He sensed the aura coming from the ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family and couldn't help but be moved. How can there be such an existence in the human realm? Heavenly Emperor Zi Yang stared at the ancestral grounds for a long time before leaving. He had a bad premonition. If that existence were to come out, it would be a disaster for them. There were some existences in the world that even venerables would turn around and run when they encountered them. Soon after, Ji Yu Fei's indestructible war physique also arrived. Ch. The Dongfang family won't be able to overturn the heavens. Ji Yu Fei stood on top of a mountain outside the ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family. He sensed the aura coming from the depths of the ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family and said this. No matter what you do, it won't change anything. Ji Yu Fei left these words behind and left. The experts of the Dongfang family who were guarding the ancestral grounds were shocked to the extreme after hearing these words. This made them restless. How did Ji Yu Fei still have such confidence? When these words reached Dongfang Chen's ears, he couldn't help but be moved. Ji Yu Fei could sense the aura of the ancestor, but he still said these words. Could it be that he was comparable to the supremes of the ancient times? In the distant past, the Dongfang family produced Emperor Donghuang. From then on, the family rose to prominence in the Eastern realm. Through the endless years, the family was still extremely prosperous. Emperor Donghuang was a supreme Renhuang who could compete with supremes. The great formation that protected the ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family came from this Renhuang of the Eastern realm. This madman is talking nonsense. Once the ancestor comes out, he will sweep through the entire Eastern realm and display his invincible might. At that time, this madman will kneel and beg for mercy. An important figure of the Dongfang family said this. At this time, Ji Yu Fei was not idle. His real body was still guarding his daughter's place of seclusion. He didn't leave. He would wait for his daughter to come out of seclusion before returning to the Tinglong continent. During this period of time, he would not go anywhere. Yang also stayed by Ji Yu Fei's side. Ji Yu Ling's place of seclusion was filled with the aura of the great Tao. She seemed to want to break through to the saint realm. However, with the existence of the heavenly wrath, It was unrealistic to do so. Rumble. On this day, the sky above Jiyu Ling's place of seclusion rumbled. The power of the heavenly wrath was rapidly gathering. A pitch-black vortex appeared in the sky, emitting a terrifying aura of destruction. This is, on the mountain opposite Jiyu Ling's place of seclusion. Yang couldn't help but be shocked when she saw this scene. The heavenly wrath of a quasi-saint. Chapter 2589. Tribulation clouds surged in the sky above Jiyu Ling's seclusion grounds. It was supposed to be sunny and cloudless, but now, the entire sky had darkened. Rumble. Blinding bolts of lightning flashed continuously within the tribulation clouds. A terrifying destructive force was rapidly condensing. This was the might of the world, affecting the laws of the world. Many experts in the outer seas were alarmed. It had been many years since a quasi-sage heavenly tribulation had appeared in the outer seas. However, when those people wanted to come and check it out, they retreated in panic from thousands of miles away. They had sensed someone's aura. Why is that person here? Some experts from the outer seas muttered. They did not dare to approach that area. If they made that person unhappy, it would be a disaster. Could it be that person's disciple is undergoing tribulation again? Someone guessed this possibility. After all, the commotion caused by the Scarlet Dragon's tribulation had affected the entire outer seas and even the entire soaring dragon ancestral star. No one would have guessed that the person undergoing tribulation this time was not Jiyu Fei's disciple, but his daughter. Moreover, there were very few people in the outer seas who knew that Jiyu Fei had a daughter. Do you think Linga will succeed? Yang asked Jiyu Fei from the mountain peak opposite Jiyu Ling's seclusion grounds. That's a must. Jiyu Fei said. His daughter had his bloodline in her. How could she not be able to pass through a quasi-sage heavenly tribulation? Upon reaching the sage level, one's physical body would transcend the mortal realm. The power of the laws of the great path cultivated by a sage would fuse into their bloodline and be passed down to their descendants. Jiyu Fei and Yang were both sages. Naturally, their bloodline power would be passed down to Jiyu Ling. Jiyu Ling had the bloodline of a sage. Her starting point was already far better than ordinary people. This was also why her cultivation had improved so quickly. The power of a bloodline was not to be underestimated. With Jiyu Fei and Yang around, even if Jiyu Ling failed the tribulation, she would not be in any danger. This was definitely an extravagant hope for other cultivators. One had to know that failure to transcend the tribulation meant death. Not everyone would have a saint by their side to protect them when they transcended the tribulation. Boom! Suddenly, there was a deafening clap of thunder and a bolt of lightning the size of a mountain range shot out from the tribulation clouds towards Jiyu Ling's seclusion grounds. Jiyu Ling's secluded cultivation ground was instantly destroyed by the lightning. Half of the mountain was blasted apart by the lightning. Immediately, rubble flew into the air and dust rose high into the sky. A figure could be vaguely seen in the lightning. Shua. At this moment, a golden light shot out from the figure and rushed towards the mountain where Jiyu Fei was at. A powerful aura was emitted from the golden light. On top of the mountain, Jiyu Fei reached out and grabbed the golden light. The golden light dissipated, and a divine mace appeared in Jiyu Fei's hand. This divine mace was the human emperor divine mace. Jiyu Ling had returned the immortal emperor's mace to her father. Her goal was clear. She didn't need to borrow the power of the immortal emperor's mace to transcend the quasi-sage heavenly tribulation. She wanted to rely on her own strength to survive this test. The quasi-sage heavenly tribulation was only a test to her. Of course, that was only true for her. If it were someone else, it would not be so easy. This child, Yang couldn't help but shake her head. Jiyu Ling had returned the immortal emperor's mace to Jiyu Fei. This was within her expectations because the personalities of the father and daughter were very similar. Jiyu Ling sat cross-legged in the void, bathed in lightning. She wore an immortal robe with interweaving immortal patterns on it. This was an immortal robe that she had refined when she was cultivating the immortal path. But now, Jiyu Ling had already switched to the path of cultivation and stepped onto the path of martial arts. However, she was still wearing this celestial robe. Rumble. Thunder rumbled as powerful tribulation lightning descended from the sky and blasted Ji Ling's body. The power of the tribulation lightning grew stronger and stronger. Under the bombardment of the tribulation lightning, Ji Ling's incomparably strong physique was displayed. Each lightning bolt could shatter a mountain, but it couldn't hurt her at all. The destructive lightning engulfed Ji Ling completely. Her aura did not weaken under the bombardment, but instead grew stronger. Not bad. Ji Fei couldn't help but nod when he saw this scene from the opposite mountain. It would be strange if Ling Er's physique wasn't strong after tempering her body with sacred blood and the essence of a quasi-supreme. Yang Er said disapprovingly. Ji Fei had once tempered Ji Ling's martial body with the essence of a saint-level creature and a quasi-supreme. At this moment, Ji Ling's martial body was definitely comparable to a saint artifact. Ji Ling's realm wasn't high enough, but her martial body was absolutely unimaginably strong. 81 tribulation lightning descended from the tribulation clouds. This was the number of 9 by 9, representing the limit. When the 81st tribulation lightning struck, the entire world shook. The aura of destruction filled every inch of the void. Ji Ling's immortal robe finally couldn't withstand the destructive power of the world and shattered in the void. The immortal runes on the immortal robe dissipated under the tribulation lightning. After the 81st tribulation lightning, human-shaped lightning and beast-shaped lightning descended from the tribulation clouds. The power contained within these lightning was much more terrifying than the 81st tribulation lightning. This is, on the opposite mountain, Yang Er couldn't help but be shocked when she saw this scene. This was the imprint left behind by a creature that had gone through the heavenly tribulation of a quasi-saint before Ji Ling was triggered. This was equivalent to a quasi-saint attacking Ji Ling. Ji Ling could only become the number 1 person below the sages after passing this trial. Let's fight. At this moment, Ji Ling stood up in the void and charged towards a human-shaped lightning that rushed down from the sky. This was a human-shaped creature, but there were 2 horns on its head. This creature wasn't a real human, but perhaps a demon. A great battle broke out. Ji Ling pressed forward with an indomitable will and blasted out the fist of fire. Boom! Ji Ling's fist collided with the human-shaped lightning's fist. The 2 figures moved rapidly. At this time, a fierce beast condensed from lightning pounced from behind Ji Ling. This fierce beast opened its mouth and spat out a large amount of lightning towards Ji Ling. Every bolt of lightning tore through the void, displaying a terrifying might. Swoosh! Ji Ling turned around and completely ignored the terrifying lightning. She charged through the thousands of lightning bolts and arrived above the beast in an instant. She then stomped down on the beast's head. This was the 8 desolation steps that Ji Fei had taught Ji Ling. Ji Ling displayed the 8 steps 8 death technique. With a stomp, the void beneath her feet immediately collapsed. Bang! With a muffled sound, the beast was stomped down from the sky by Ji Ling. Just as Gulling was stepping on the ferocious beast, the humanoid lightning charged towards him. The figure waved its hands, causing blades of light to shoot out from its hands. The blades of light spun and slashed towards Gulling. Mitch! Ji Ling snorted coldly and waved her fists, shattering the incoming light blades. She then clashed with the human-shaped lightning. Roar! A terrifying bestial roar seemed to resound in the void. The beast that Ji Ling had stomped down from the sky once again charged up from below. Ji Ling did not seem to be at a disadvantage against the 2 powerful beings formed from lightning. Fight steadily and consolidate your cultivation and realm in the midst of a great battle. Our Ling Er knows very well what she has to do now. Seeing this, Ji Fei couldn't help but nod his head. Ling Er can easily overcome this heaven's tribulation with her own strength. Yang Er looked at the valiant and invincible figure in the sky. She couldn't help but be surprised and overjoyed. Martial artists were indeed natural-born warriors. This father and daughter pair were both battle maniacs. Ji Ling's situation was just as her father, Ji Fei, had said. She consolidated her cultivation base during the battle. The more she fought, the braver she became. Boom! Ji Ling punched out. The terrifying fist force turned into a torrential divine flame, drowning the 2 beings formed from lightning within the divine flame. The two figures formed from lightning were sent flying before disintegrating in the void. They turned into two imprints and shot up into the sky, returning to the heavens' Tao. Rumble. Just then, a thunderous roar rang out from within the calamity clouds. An incomparably huge figure walked out from the calamity clouds. This was a figure whose entire body was covered in heaven's flames. This is, Jiyu Ling's eyes narrowed at the sight of this figure. This was a living being that cultivated a fire way technique and became a quasi-sage. The Tao imprint that this living being had left on the heavens Tao was activated. It materialized and charged towards Jiyu Ling. The living being stretched out its hand. A gigantic hand wreathed in raging flames enveloped the entire heaven and earth, grabbing towards Jiyu Ling. That gigantic hand emanated heaven's flames, a terrifying flame that could incinerate everything in the world into ashes. Kill. Jiyu Ling's battle intent surged. She struck out with her heaven-encompassing palm. An incomparably huge palm appeared between the heaven and earth, clashing with the gigantic hand that was descending from the heavens. Boom. Amidst the loud sound, the two gigantic hands clashed together. Two extremely powerful forces erupted. Jiyu Ling's heaven-encompassing palm dissipated. The gigantic hand formed from the heaven's flames retracted as well. This time around, no one could suppress the other in a head-on confrontation. Very good. Finally, a decent fella has arrived. Jiyu Ling's eyes lit up. She charged forth and engaged in a fierce battle with that figure. An incomparably powerful force shook the heaven and earth. Chapter 2590. Since ancient times, all living beings who were able to overcome the heavenly tribulations of demi-saints had their own strengths. Jiyu Ling wanted to defeat the two figures formed from lightning, but it was not an easy task. The power of the heavenly tribulation was constantly pouring into the two figures. The two figures seemed to possess boundless power as they battled with Jiyu Ling endlessly. The powerful destructive power shook the heavens and earth, and every strike tore through the void. Jiyu Ling was like a goddess of war amidst the lightning. She punched the humanoid lightning and stepped on the beast figure, displaying an indomitable might. I'm done playing with you guys. Jiyu Ling had achieved her goal after more than 2 hours. She could feel that her cultivation level had stabilized and would no longer fluctuate. She then used the secret art of ascension that her father had taught her. Her combat strength multiplied and she sent the humanoid lightning flying with a single palm strike. Whoosh! With a wave of her right hand, a dazzling sword light shot out from her hand, heading straight for the beast figure formed from the power of lightning. The sword light was as fast as lightning, and it cut the beast shadow into two in an instant. Then, it dissipated in the void, and a seal soared into the sky, disappearing into the sky. Rumble! Thunderbolts filled the sky. The human-shaped lightning displayed its supreme battle prowess as it attacked from afar. Countless lightning bolts blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they bombarded towards Gulling. Jiyu Ling laughed. Then, she stretched out her right hand and pressed forward. A powerful force surged out from her hand. The lightning attacks were immediately turned into the most primitive spiritual energy of the world. Then, they were devoured by her martial body and turned into her power. This was the secret art of the 9 secrets of the immortal path. This was definitely a shocking scene. The endless lightning was like a moth flying into a flame. All of a sudden, it disappeared around Gulling. The lightning that could tear apart the void of the world was instantly dissolved into the primal spiritual energy of the world. Vroom! The void shook. Jiyu Ling seemed to have turned into a bottomless black hole, constantly devouring the spiritual qi of the world converted from the power of lightning to replenish her depleted yuan qi. This was a power that could devour the heavens. It sucked in all the lightning, including the human-shaped lightning. Without a doubt, Jiyu Ling's combat strength was absolutely world-shaking after using the secret art of ascension. There was no other demi-saint of the same level who had such combat strength. The humanoid lightning dissipated, and the destructive power within it was transformed into a huge amount of essence energy that was directly devoured by the ancient spirit. A Tao imprint soared into the sky and disappeared, returning to the heavens. Roar! Jiyu Ling roared at the sky, her voice shaking the sky. Her battle intent was like a rainbow, but at this time, There were no more beings condensed from lightning descending from the sky. The tribulation clouds that shrouded the sky began to dissipate, and the destructive aura that caused all living beings to tremble retreated like the tide. Very soon, the entire world was filled with light. The tribulation clouds dispersed, and the sunlight once again descended upon the earth. In just an hour, the sky was clear and the air was clear, as if nothing had happened. However, Jiyu Ling's place of seclusion was completely destroyed by the power of the tribulation. Jiyu Ling stood in the void, motionless. She closed her eyes and the boiling blood in her body gradually calmed down. The aura of the Great Path spread out from her body. 9 blurry Dao patterns appeared on her body. These were the embryonic forms of the 9 Dao patterns. Jiyu Ling's talent was definitely heaven-defying because her parents were both saints and the blood of saints flowed in her body. During the tribulation, the power of her bloodline was further awakened. When the tribulation clouds in the sky completely dissipated, Jiyu Ling opened her eyes. She had a new understanding of this world. She felt as if she could grasp the Great Path in the unseen world. However, she always felt as if there was a thin veil in front of her. The Great Path was very close to her, but it was hard to reach. This was the demi-saint realm. As long as one could truly comprehend the Great Path, they could directly become a saint. Swoosh! Jiyu Ling's figure suddenly disappeared. When she reappeared, she was already on the mountain where Jiyu Fei and Yang were. Father, mother. Seeing Jiyu Fei and Yang, Jiyu Ling was extremely excited. She immediately jumped into Yang's arms. Good daughter. Yang patted Jiyu Ling's back. She was very happy. Her daughter had finally grown up and was already a demi-saint. She believed that it wouldn't be long before her daughter became a saint. Even though the power of heaven's punishment still existed, Jiyu Fei could still use the mountain and river cauldron and let Jiyu Ling undergo the tribulation in the cauldron. Alright, let's return to the ancestral ground of the demon race. Jiyu Fei said. Then, he waved his hand and a wave of energy immediately wrapped around the 3 of them. They disappeared from the mountain and left the place. Not long after Jiyu Fei left, there was a figure appearing at the place where Jiyu Ling was undergoing the tribulation. Tribulation of a demi-saint. Who was it? Seeing the traces of the tribulation, everyone was extremely shocked. The area affected by the tribulation of a demi-saint was definitely not limited to this. Obviously, Jiyu Fei used some method to limit the power of the tribulation of a demi-saint to a certain area, minimizing the damage of the tribulation. At this time, Jiyu Fei and his family had already returned to the ancestral ground of the demon race in the Falling Stars continent. With the return of Jiyu Fei and his family, everyone now knew that Jiyu Fei had a daughter. Moreover, his daughter was not a weakling. She was actually a demi-saint. It's time to return to the Tinglong continent. Jiyu Fei couldn't help but feel nervous. He had been away for too long. The Tinglong continent was in a turbulent situation. Many geniuses had appeared. Those ancient desolate forces were not to be trifled with. Jiyu Fei naturally didn't care about those so-called geniuses. He had already left them far behind. Even his own disciples could compete with those geniuses. Now, only Yarou Yu and Jiyu Ling were slightly weaker. Jiyu Zhong and Kai Long were already experts who could take charge of a region. Jiyu Fei and his family spent more than a month peacefully in the ancestral ground of the demon race. Then, Jiyu Fei began to prepare to return to the Tinglong continent. It was time to put an end to the grudge between him and the Dongfang clan. Jiyu Fei planned to settle some things before the power of heaven's wrath disappeared. The unold demon child who was traveling outside also returned to the Falling Stars continent. He couldn't miss out on this. Heavenly Emperor Ziyang had already gone to the Tinglong continent. Hierarch South Heaven had also rushed to the Falling Stars continent from the Clear Moon continent. Chapter 2591. In the depths of the Dongfang family's ancestral land, chaotic energy surged. An extremely tyrannical aura surged out from a chaos cavern. Rumble, the entire ancestral land shook. The sky above the ancestral land changed color and the sun and moon lost their radiance. The lid of the sarcophagus had already flown off to God knows where. A figure stood up from within the sarcophagus. The terrifying tyrannical aura came from this person. Ancestor. Everyone in the Dongfang family's ancestral land was alarmed. The two founding elders were already waiting outside the Chaos Cavern. Every member of the Dongfang family was incomparably excited. One of their ancestors had finally awakened from a deep slumber. Inside the Chaos Cavern, endless chaotic energy frantically converged towards the figure in the sarcophagus. This person's body was like a bottomless pit, constantly devouring the chaotic energy. The Chaos Cavern was connected to the ancestral vein of the earth. Chaotic energy constantly surged out from the depths of the cavern. Soon, the figure was completely enveloped by chaotic divine light. The energy fluctuations from the Chaos Cavern grew stronger and stronger. The tyrannical aura spread out in all directions with the cavern as the center. Is that person finally going to come out? In the Eastern Royal City, Celestial the Arch-Ziyang, who was sitting cross-legged in the courtyard behind the City Lord's mansion, suddenly opened his eyes. He sensed a tyrannical aura. The Dongfang family, Ji Yufei's indestructible battle physique, also sensed the aura from the Dongfang family's ancestral land. He couldn't help but be moved. He knew that an unimaginable existence was about to come out from the ancestral land. At the same time, many experts in other regions of the Tenglong continent were also alarmed. They knew that a terrifying existence, who was so powerful that he was not afraid of the power of heaven's wrath, had appeared in the eastern region. Kai Long and Ji Yuzhong returned to the Eastern Royal City. As saints, they could naturally sense an irresistible aura enveloping the entire eastern region. Could it be that one of the ancestors of the Dongfang family has awakened? Someone from the Zhao clan of the ancients said this. The aura is very tyrannical. Could it be that person? A few elders in the eastern region were alarmed. Some felt that this aura was somewhat familiar. It seemed to be the aura of that overlord. In the distant past, after Dong Huang, the Dongfang family had produced another powerful being who was comparable to Dong Huang. In the past, in the cultivation world, there was a saying, West Buddha, East Hegemon. The West Buddha land had a Buddha, and the East domain had a hegemon. That hegemon was none other than the Eastern Sky Hegemon. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King was an existence whose cultivation and combat ability were second only to the Eastern Emperor in the Dongfang family. Countless years ago, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King was already a human emperor. There's going to be a good show. The older generation of cultivators in the Eastern Domain were all observing. The Eastern Domain was about to undergo a huge change. Once the Eastern Sky Overlord came into being, it would definitely be a terrifying matter. Once the Overlord appeared, the winds and clouds changed color. Back then, the Eastern Sky Overlord was equally famous as the Buddha of the West Earth, and this was enough to show how powerful and terrifying he was. At this time, Ji Yufei's indestructible war physique ordered his subordinates to stop taking over the Dongfang family's territory and return to the East Imperial City. An unparalleled cultivator of the Dongfang family had awakened from a deep sleep. This was definitely not a good thing for Ji Yufei's indestructible war physique. Ever since the appearance of that overbearing aura, Ziyang Celestial began to set up killing matrices around the East Imperial City. These were the holy venerate matrices. Even if it was difficult to truly stop that unparalleled cultivator, it could still hold him off for a while and buy him some time. Beams of murderous light constantly rushed up around the East Imperial City. The aura of the holy venerate matrices shrouded the entire East Imperial City. The terrifying aura made everyone in the city tremble. The cultivators in the city felt extremely complicated. They all knew that a huge change was about to take place in the Eastern Domain. This time, it was very likely that the situation in the Eastern Domain would be completely changed. This was the decisive battle between Ji Yufei and the Dongfang family. Buzz. One morning, the teleportation matrix in the East Imperial City suddenly lit up. Divine light intertwined, runes flashed, and a void domain gate appeared in the sky above the matrix. An extremely powerful aura came from the void domain gate. An unparalleled cultivator was crossing the void from the other side of the void domain gate. Very soon, a figure appeared in the void domain gate. It was a figure in the shape of a child. The undying demon child had arrived, crossing the void domain. After sensing the undying demon child's aura, Celestial Emperor Ziyang immediately rushed over. "Old man, you're finally here." Celestial Emperor Ziyang and the undying demon child did not have much of a relationship. Back in the outer seas, they were sworn enemies, neither willing to submit to the other. Both were overlords of their own domains. But at this moment, they had walked together. "What? You don't want to see me?" The undying demon child walked down from the Matrix platform. "You've come at the right time," Celestial Emperor Ziyang said. He knew that the undying demon child had the Black Tortoise seal. That was an extreme king demon weapon, and it might be able to fight against that tyrant. At this time, the undying demon child's expression suddenly became serious. He felt a powerful aura, an extremely overbearing aura. This person, the undying demon child's eyes lit up. He was an antique that had lived for countless years and had experienced that ancient era. "Could it be an old acquaintance of yours?" Celestial Emperor Ziyang said. "Chmph, old acquaintance my ass," the undying demon child said impatiently. Then, he shot into the sky and left the Eastern Royal City, heading in the direction of the overbearing aura. This guy, Celestial Emperor Ziyang did not follow. The undying demon child did not need any help. If he went, he would only make the undying demon child unhappy. Very soon, the undying demon child arrived outside the Dongfang clan's ancestral grounds. He landed on a mountain peak and began to carefully observe the area ahead. In the depths of the area ahead, there was a vast and mighty chaotic aura. The surging chaotic aura would sometimes condense into an extremely overbearing figure. "It's really that person. He's actually not dead yet." The undying demon child's expression became even more serious. Good heavens, the undying demon child could tell that this person was extremely powerful. It seemed that after countless years, this person's cultivation had broken through to an unbelievable level. This is going to be troublesome. The undying demon child turned around and left. That person was inhaling and exhaling chaotic aura. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he walked out of the ancestral grounds. At that time, a great battle would be unavoidable.